Good evening and welcome to Poker Night Live. Definitely the best place on the planet to learn poker or to sharpen up your game. Why? Because we show you everything. We show you all the cards. Delayed, obviously, so you don't have any unfair advantage. And tonight, we are going to be extra buzzing because I haven't seen him for ages. It's Dr. Tom.
Good evening, James. How are you?
Very well, and welcome back. 'Cause I haven't seen you for ages. I've been missing you.
I've had a few missions, but I've also I've been on wedding duty,
Cryptic
James.
clue there.
I've just come back from a wedding in Poland. Well, most of them has come back. Some of you still there.
And did you celebrate?
I think I did. I can't remember.
Good. Well, today, everyone's been celebrating. England's off to a flying start in the World Cup. Sweden only managed a draw against Trinidad and Tobago. And tonight it's Poker Night Live. It's fantastic. Anyway, we want to hear from you. We want to hear any questions, any comments, any jokes, anything you like. We just want to have loads of interactivity. And the best way to do that is to text us, writing the word poker and your question, and that is at 84222. Or we're quite happy to receive an email from you at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Don't forget, we also have a fantastic website with a forum. We don't need to watch that now, of course, later on maybe, or tomorrow afternoon. And that's at www.pokernightlive.co.uk. Okay, Tom, could you show us around the table,
Oh,
please?
why not? Come on then, let's have a look at them. Table one is a $5 sit-and-go. There they are. Few regular players there, got Hamster. $10 sit and go, super long structure here on table two. Extra chips.
Would you like a super long structure, Dr. Tom?
I'm well acquainted with super long structure. Okay, not quite long. Table three, moving on swiftly, a cash game. 25-cent, 50-cent game here of infinite length. And moving on.
Swiftly.
A strangely coloured one here. Green, pregnant with possibility. One might say a tumescent kind of game. It's a multi-table tourney, James Browning. Fantastic
that.
stuff.
Brilliant. Okay, so where shall we kick off?
$10 sit and go?
Go on then.
Okay. It's Barrel UK. Seat 8 there.
And it's Robo, seat 1. Lots of regulars there, really. Earl, Buffy be good. Scotty, Stanters. I haven't seen Stanters for a while.
Who's playing the sit and go tonight, James?
You're welcome to play if you like.
Ah, I'm easy, but I don't mind.
Oh, I know you're easy, Tom. So they said in Poland. But
You know more about that than me.
you can't remember it because you had Polish vodka.
Yeah, that's real. I thought it was drinking water.
Fatal mistake.
Okay.
You're welcome.
I'll have a swing then.
Yes.
So here they are limbering up. Pair of fours. That's a quite a bold move. Guess he reasons that Barrog really can't move against that strength except with an ace-king or a big pair. Works. Well done, Stantis.
Mind you, it was quite early position to do that, wasn't he, really? He had to get round the rest of the world there.
Yeah. And that's a difficult hand to play in early position. Queen Jack off. I'm not a big fan of it myself. Don't want to give away all my secrets before I sit down and play the sit and go, but I don't mind admitting that. James, how do you feel about Queen Jack, two off the button, two off the big blind, rather?
No, at this stage of the tournament, not too keen. Another stage of the tournament, it might be even a hand I push all in with. But if, at different times, this stage, not even interested in it.
Queen high, basically, isn't it?
And funny enough, I would just about, although I'm not a great one for things being just suited, but it's a hand like that, I do prefer it to be suited, actually.
I agree.
So my connectors, I prefer them to be suited, and that will probably be, because I don't want to be playing connectors all the time, so therefore to have the variance of waiting for them to be suited is quite good.
I agree. It's good to have standards, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, some of the time you're going to make your hand, you're going to make a straight with your Queen Jack, but it doesn't hurt if you make a straight with a suited Queen Jack, that's fine. It just means that you don't find yourself calling with it a bit too much.
Yeah. And where I like it is because I like it also, some of these hands, in a cash game, because now if I suddenly sense weakness, and now you're more likely to be in a semi-bluff situation if you've got a couple of options. And so therefore I'll be prepared to pop in that semi-bluff there.
Yeah.
So twice the chance of the semi-bluff is useful.
That's right. If I've got a fairly small commitment to the pot in terms of my blind, I've got lots of chips, I am basically looking to make a straight or a flush with a Queen Jack, and of course if it's suited I've basically doubled my chances of making the hand I'm trying to make.
And in the early stages of these, you know, when the blinds are very small, then I want these sort of hands because I want someone to overplay one pair against me, basically, when I've connected with one of my rare funny hands.
You have got rare funny hands, James. I've always noticed that.
Yes.
Surprised you don't keep them out of view when we're coming together.
Actually, my mum said I had lovely hands. She said I've got long, thin fingers.
Mothers lie to their sons.
Look at that hand. It's never, no blisters, no nothing. Very smooth, isn't it?
Well, you've got a very long love line.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you're going to say lifeline.
Wow, Stantis has grasped the game by the scruff of its neck. He's in latish position there. Still King Jack off, not a great hand, but we are at an 8-handed table, so yeah, you can make a move if you like.
I prefer that because it's later position, and so that, to me, that is a far better. Actually, to me, that is a better play than the pair of fours was.
I agree,
because position to me is in many ways more important than the actual hand.
Yeah, it's the weight of the opposition, as you say there, James. When he bets early, there's just so many hands out there that someone's got a reasonable chance of having a good hand. Raises him, he's got to throw his fours away, and that's chips he's lost.
Well, here's Sol. He's ended up calling with this ace-jack, and now decided to preempt and bet. Well, this is going to end in tears if he's not careful. Because Andy Yeo is just deliberating. He's teasing, I think. Yes, he is. Well, Sol surely can't be interested.
No, that does look like it could be a king, in which case he needs running jacks. Might be a flush draw, of course, but you don't want to be a player who just permanently believes your opponent's trying to bluff you.
And actually, there are a lot of players who are like that. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I thought you were bluffing. Well, I thought you were bluffing.
I mean, no one's going to bluff you if you always call, so they're probably not bluffing.
Yes, that's a great point.
But of course, if you do get someone like that, and they do always call you, for heaven's sake, don't say that to them. Say something like, yeah, you know, on another occasion I will be bluffing. Yeah. Encourage them to think that they do have to keep you honest.
Yes, I've just been playing in a great cash game up in the northeast.
Oh, yeah?
It's actually moved from Stanley's to Aspers now. And it's a great game. A good crowd of people, very friendly, but it's a really, really lively game. But it's such a game, and there's some fearless players in it that, of course, basically bluffing is really should be a no-go zone because they're just too good. They just call at the end there. So in fact, what you should be doing is in a game like this, of course, you should be not shy to bet your hand because you might be surprised at what will be called, and also you now have to re-evaluate your value bet.
Sure. Yeah.
Because you, of course, can push this up a lot higher.
You can value bet with things you wouldn't dream of value betting in a normal game. And it just goes to show that even in a game where you can't bluff, the game doesn't become less skillful. It's just different skills come into the foreground there.
Yes, in fact, it's funny how this game you have to change, because this game is actually, there's some players there who play very aggressively all the time, very wild. They like to put straddles in. They like to raise with anything all the time. So basically, when you play a hand there, especially if you're playing an Omaha hand or whatever, you've got to say, well, this hand has got to withstand a very big pre-flop raise because it's quite likely to happen.
Yeah.
And if you can't take the pain, well, don't just put the first bit in because you're going to probably have to leave that behind. Sure. And if you keep on leaving bets behind all night long, it's no good. Or if you then say, oh, well, I'll call anyway out of frustration, you'll be in a hand where you don't know where you are. And of course, that's one of the worst things in poker, I think, is to be in a pot, in a hand where you just don't know where you are. because you win small or lose big.
Mm.
So you have to say, I know what's going to happen in this story. He's probably going to raise this much. And
exactly, that's the skill, isn't it? Working out where the bets are going to come from,
Yeah.
when they're going to come, and how much it's going to cost you.
well, we've got a collision, Tom,
Yeah.
and the king's is looking sweet, but there's a 9 could escape.
Yeah, it's a huge number of outs, improved, but still not enough for Scotty.
Yeah, all of a sudden he ended up with 6 outs instead of 2.
Well, minimum bet from the 4s there. I guess it could work.
Minimum raise.
Minimum raise, beg his pardon.
Oh,
And,
a proper raise.
now what, though? He's in a difficult situation here, Mark.
Mark?
James, because he's facing exactly the sort of right odds to either put it down or call. He has called.
He seemed to call with consummate ease.
He
And
did,
he knows
didn't he?
exactly that he's winning. Incredible.
Yeah.
Well, only 2 overcards out there, and called the massive raise, and wow.
It's an interesting bet, though, because there's a case for saying that if you're behind, if you're ahead, rather...
Oh, and he's Rober's called it. Oh. Wow, I find this whole hand quite strange.
Is that your euphemistic way of saying you don't like Sol's play?
No, I've got to sort of bow down to him that he actually knows so clearly where he is.
Well, maybe next time we'll see him do it when he's got it wrong.
But I find it difficult that he can know that clearly. That's my problem.
I mean, a jack
just-
on the board, it doesn't really look like Robo's got a jack. I mean, he probably reads him for something like ace king or a higher pair, and he's gambling it's not a higher pair.
Well, how did he call the re-raise to start with?
Before the flop.
No, he's put the flat raise in and then he was re-raised. That's a tough call for me with a pair of 4s. I'm either against an overpair or I'm a small favourite against maybe ace-king. It seems that he's just clearly picked one hand to put Robo on. And I think he actually, if you asked him, I bet Sol would have said he's got ace-king. And I think he just picked that one hand out the
Yeah.
mid-air and just said, that's it. But I don't believe that we can do that.
No, it was probably the most likely hand, but that is different from it being, on average, a profitable assumption. Maybe 40% of the time it will be ace-king, and 60% of the time it will be something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I prefer that. I thought you were going to say it was the biggest percentage ace-king. No, I think 60% something else is probably, that's a good package. But yeah, the most likely individual hand, yes, I agree with you there. It's a type of hand people do a re-raise with, but it could easily be aces, kings or queens. They would be doing the same thing, I presume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is a danger, because when you have very strong powers of visualization in poker, you tend to visualize what's the most likely holding, rather than treat the problem as a mathematical one, which is what it is.
Still, we'll watch him. Maybe he's razor-sharp perception of what people have got.
Well, we see what Buffy Be Good is doing. He's isolating Scotty, who he knows doesn't have to have much here, but he's just left himself enough chips to get away from it if someone comes back very, very strong. And you're going to see that play a lot in tournaments.
And Robo there had has passed, and he only had 140 left.
Well, he misread Buffy Be Good's play. He thought Buffy Be Good must be strong to raise, but as I say there, it was fairly clearly an isolating raise from Buffy, and he didn't have to read Buffy for much.
Because in this situation here, Robo's probably going to look at the money in the pot there and just think he's got an amazing chance to win a big pot for a small amount.
Yeah, I mean, there's a case for saying there's no reasoning to be done. You just stick it in because your pot odds are so long.
You'd have had to pop it in, wouldn't you?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't even remember what he's got, but I think he should have called.
Yeah.
That's,
2 live cards,
Yeah.
in it goes.
because he's got, what, 140 left. Anyway, he's going to prove us wrong. He's going to come back from this and win the tourney.
Well, he's up against a lot of outs.
But he's going to survive it.
Yes, he is. 4 straight, no good on the river.
Flop 2 pair, nice start.
Probably will come back now.
And he's to 420 now. Robo, well, I hope you do come back, Robo. I'm not wanting you to lose.
Maybe he'll get knocked out on the bubble from undue caution. We'll see.
Stanter's no undue caution there, is raised up on the small blind.
Yep, Jack King again.
And Jack King having quite a bit of success here tonight.
Now, 9-10 suited. No, he doesn't. Some players who love a pair of fours love 9-10 suited, but he has preferences, Sol.
Tom, you've had a sobering effect on the cards at the moment.
Have I?
Because of late, I've been seeing amazing cards when I've been on. It's just weird situations. But so far, it all seems very normal.
Normal transmission has been restored with my return.
Balrog, King, Queen.
Can he fold if he's raised, James?
No. Probably not. Well, blinds at 81.60, and let's see what Balrog does here under the gun. Yes, I felt it coming.
I'd let it go.
And he's made it 480. And mission accomplished.
I'd let it go.
Right, not much there until we get to the small blind. Who I presume will pop in a raise. He's well chipped up. He can pressurise. And there's pressure.
Yeah, he doesn't want to faff around. He just wants to either get Balrog all in or, preferably, I think, have a fold.
Yes, I think that's what I'd be wanting, really, as a... well, actually, no, I suppose I'd prefer him, say, we'll call with King 2 or something. That would be pretty good.
Yeah, under those circumstances. But let's say neither of us would like to see a call not knowing what our opponent's got.
No, I think at that stage I'd be quite happy to take the blinds. In fact, in probably most situations in a sit and go, I'm happy to take the blinds, to tell the truth, except at the very beginning. But once we get to the latter stages, I mean, here's no contest. I want the blinds. Where can I have... If I get given 480, it's very hard to have that much percentage advantage to be warranting getting 480.
Basically aces, I think you need to want to get called.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I don't think people always actually understand that.
Oh, look at that, James. The dominated queen pulls a flush out of the bag.
Yeah, ace-queen was dominating the queen 10, but flush out the bag, as Tom says.
And he needed to make it with only 3 hearts. If 4 had come down, Stanters would have had the better flush.
That was cruel, yeah, because he'd covered the multi-flush runners.
Oh, he said that Balrog did nothing wrong. He's folded round to him on the button. His short stack's got queen 10 suited. Of course, he sticks it all in. Stanters, of course, calls the
here we are,
queen.
ace-queen against sixes, queen on the flop.
Difficult now for
Oh, he's got a club as well. Takes away, he's only got a 1-outer.
6 of diamonds.
He squeezed him to a 1-outer because he owned the club. That's brutal. Andy there, look, he even winked when he won.
He's a winker.
Yeah, the thing is, one's got to realise that one's only got a certain percentage advantage in a hand.
Yeah.
And so therefore, when we look at the situation, the blinds, 160, 320, that's a total of 480. You've got to work out how big the pot has got to be and how much of a percentage advantage you've got to have to be able to equal 480. Well, we're talking about a massive encounter here, because generally we don't have such a huge advantage.
Yep.
But would you agree that's something people don't think about?
Look at this, James. That was a bit of a deliverance there at the end for Stanters. Full house on the board. So Sol's house of 9s over 4s gets counterfeited. Naughty, naughty. I'd like
Sol's
to
a specialist for these 4s.
He is, yeah. He's got great foreplay.
Oh, boom, boom.
I think any reasonably seasoned sit-and-go player really must view it like that, James, to be able to turn a profit in these games, or even break even, because it's such an important concept, taking the blinds when they get big. And
yes, what I'm saying is I think they know they like the blinds, but they don't quite... I don't think I've spoke to a lot of people, and they haven't quite broken it down to see why it is. I don't think they've actually thought about the aspect of, well, what percentage of advantage I got, how big is the pot, how much would that be worth on average, etc. Plus, you can also have to add into the equation the fact that if you steal the blinds, of course, then this cuts out fluctuations.
Oh, look at that. A queen on the river there. It looked like Andy was going to take 2 scalps there, but only Stanters.
There it is, yes, he had the ace-king.
Great
Everything
situation
was sweet.
for Andy. He's still got chips and he's dominating 2 players.
Could have been a double knockout.
Yeah.
But no.
More action here. It's all going off now.
It's a raise and then a re-raise. This time the pair of nines is a
What does Balrog
respectable
do?
rise.
What does he do? Does he
Oh,
fold?
goodness, yes. Look at this. What a decision.
He's saying to himself, could Sol have ace jack? And he's decided he could, but there are lots of other hands he could have that are better than ace jack. I think Balrog's quite reasonably puts it down there.
I think because it's a re-raise, he might think he's even got a massive pair.
Yeah. Yep. And in the event, it was...
Buffy Be Good's in rather bad shape here. And it's a full house for Sol. 3 10s, 2 9s. Sol actually had the blockers there for Buffy Be Good.
He did,
He
yeah.
was looking for the middle pin straight.
The all-important blockers. Well, look at this now. Sol is chip leader. This is a cracking tournament.
Non-stop action, Tom.
Just like Poker Night Live, James.
It is, we get it all here, non-stop live action.
Is he going to put a bet in here? Oh, I thought he might. Respect to the man with aggression.
Balrog's passing.
Balrog,
Oh,
good
wow.
Call. Great call.
And
That's
now
a
it's
raise
only going to
runner.
cost him 1380.
He's getting 3 to 1, but he's too embarrassed to show his cards. We can see them, Sol. Caught with his hand in the till. Interesting.
Probably a call, I'm afraid.
3 to 1? I don't mind a fold from Sol there. I don't think
Well,
I've
he's not going to be 3 to 1 against.
He might be if he's up against a big pair.
Well,
He's not going to be much better than 2 to 1 for sure. Not with 3
No.
to 6 or whatever it was.
Yeah, so he'll be...
Yeah, I don't mind a fold. I don't mind a call either,
Yeah.
to be honest. But. Also, we're near the bubble. We're on the bubble, which is another reason for preserving chips.
Well, except if he wins and he knocks him out.
Well, that is a very good point, James. Yeah. So I'll completely take back what I just said.
Oh, look at this. He's going to be happy with this situation. Oh, no. Look at this. Triple action. Oh, well, it's happened again. Normal service is not resumed. This is the normal service. It's like non-stop amazing action. And look at that. It's a
And it's gone.
three-way coup.
Wow, bottom set for Earls. And they're still betting.
Well, you just click that button and Andy's going to call. He's got an overpair. I can't see him putting it down. Unless he's thinking he can wangle his way into the prize money.
Yeah, he's perhaps saying to
Wow,
himself, can Sol bet with ace king? And if the answer's no, Andy can fold. He's only got the
Well
best
done.
over
Well done,
Fantastic.
Andy. Great pass.
Wow, and Balrog gutted because he stayed out of it. He must have thought he was going to see
And
himself
look
in
at
the
this.
money.
And there's Earl. Hit the trip fours.
And 4 of them still in after that.
Unbelievable. How could you guess that?
Oh, Balrog's
Three-way
got fours.
action. And they still got them all in there.
That's right, and the best hand, the chip leader on that one. Fours are good today.
That actually wasn't the hand, by the way, in case you were confused.
Stick it all in. Yes, that's all he does. 1,000 to be had. Quite right too. Now, Andy in small blind, and he is the one they're all looking at. Get knocked out. He can let this go. Well, he can't let this go. He must go all in here.
Unless Balrog preempts. I don't think he's going to, though.
Great situation. He's dominating the 9.
Oh, no. That is so cruel. It doesn't feel like an ace is coming either.
Doesn't it not?
No.
No, it doesn't. You're right. Oh, he's out. Oh, well.
Yeah, he's
That's
a goner.
poker.
Well, after a great laydown before there, where he would have been knocked out, he gets his money in with well the best of it, about a 73% favourite. No waiting, on the flop came the 9.
Looks like the bubble had his name on it.
It's a cruel game.
Well, 1,000, I think you might as well stick it all in, Sol.
Well, King Jack might as well keep its amazing record tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Unbeaten so far.
Ace deuce lays down, and I don't really mind that lay down. He was ahead, but how far ahead can you be with ace 2?
Kojak, very successful. Earled.
So it's costing them 1,000 to let the button go round each time. Sol might move here. He's moved before. On the other hand, he got caught out from Balrog. Right, he just decides to put the pressure on. And the ace-8 is currently good. And will remain good if Sol doesn't connect with a 6 or a 10 now. He does, Nate.
If Andy's watching, email in and tell us about what made you decide to pass with your 9s, because we were impressed by your pass. Tell us how you worked it out.
I mean, just to preempt it, the logic in the cool light of day would be your man Sol was betting into basically a dry side pot. He's got to have it, hasn't he? If he's a decent
You would
player.
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. However, I see more and more strange things at the poker tables with
It's
these
true.
dry side pots.
I folded against bets into dry side pots and regretted it. I mean, you look like a fool when you call and they have got it, because it looks like a clear situation where you can fold, but people do bet into dry side
but you
pots.
feel worse when the guy's been bluffing into the side. I've had this.
Yeah.
Well, what? There's an all-in guy here. What are you going to do?
But the truth, unfortunately, is that skill in poker is not about following the textbook. Skill is in playing your opponent. And if your opponent is a muppet and you don't take that into account, it's you who made a mistake as well as them.
That's right, yeah.
So blinds now have doubles, and we've lost Sol.
Yeah, we're at the top of the shop now, 640, 1280. Doesn't get any more expensive than this, thank goodness. And it's Balrog over 2-1 on favourite.
That's good enough for all my chips. What about you, James? Check 9. And there's already 2,000 in the
And he's
middle.
hit the 9.
Yeah, now it's going to go, I think, all in.
Because he'd hit the 8, so it was 9 against the 8, and 2 pairs. Earl back in business.
Yeah,
In fact, the
2-1.
new leader.
2-1 has swung, as it will. Not a great hand, King 7, but it is a king.
Yeah, it's above average, Tom, so nothing wrong with that. Especially with the blind so big. There's not much room for finesse here.
No, it's like two people hitting each other with clubs, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't make a probing jab with a club in this situation.
Reminds me of the new Russian heavyweight champion. He's 7 foot tall.
Well,
And he does just club people down. He's just 7 foot tall. He looks like I've never seen anyone look so big. He can actually box as well, funny enough. Pair of 10s. What a lovely time to pick those up.
all in, effectively, since
And
that's all Balrog cool.
Balrog. Fortunately, he had a hand like 2-3, otherwise he could have been in trouble. He decided he didn't like the look of that 2-3 suited.
Thank God he didn't have aces, eh?
He'd have put up with that, probably. Well, Earl should pass that when he does. Funny enough, the chip leader, especially on the small blind, can actually afford to pass a few small blinds, because as long as he's got the other guy covered, it's only going to take the one punch to knock him out, basically.
In this format where the
Yes,
small blind's
in
off
this-
the button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this format, when the blinds are so big, he can if he's got the chip lead, he can let those 640s go a few times. If he's not quite right, if he's like tuning up to get the big punch to have a crack at his opponent.
Mm.
But he's just got to monitor that he's got him covered, so that if he does land that one punch, then it's just he's the champion. See, there's one. He could let that go.
He could, although I would move myself, I think. I think if there's any chance my opponent will fold, that's good for me.
Whoa.
Oh, look, that's so weird. He's got trips, but he's still behind.
Yeah. See, that one I would have put down.
That's interesting.
Because I can do it. Because I've got the other guy covered. And I'm out, you know, I don't have to, I can wait for a better one. That's what at least I'm making some use of this chip lead I've got.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking for the value played out. I think if there's any chance my opponent will fold there, I'm getting value from the bet. If there's no chance, then I let it go.
Well, it's tough for your opponent to fold now when he's already got his 1280 in. That's my point.
Yeah, but he can fold.
He can
Point
fold.
is, will he? If he won't, then of course it's a wrong play because you're behind. But you're getting such tremendous value, and you're probably going to be a 40% when you're called. You've got suited, connecting undercards.
I passed that. As he did.
What did he have, James? I was still thinking
3-2.
about 6-8. Oh, 3-2, I'll probably let go, yeah.
But it's not that different to 6-8.
Battle Rock, weren't they? Look at that. No, it's completely different from the 6-8.
Yeah, and what this is wrong from Balrog. Because he was the chip leader. He could have let that go.
I don't see the logic. I mean, if you're the chip leader, your chips are worth less to you. You've got more
They
reason to
are,
go in.
but you can still, because of this 640, 1280, it's so massive now, you can just be a little bit selective, otherwise, a little bit selective. It doesn't, the guy's not gaining a great deal.
I think if you let hands like that go, the 6-8, you're gambling on the future. What if the guy gets...
Well, it's below average hand.
6-8?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. If there's no chance he's going to fold, then you're quite right to let it go. But if there's any chance, you may have value. And if you let that one go and you would have knocked him out, he may pick up a load of good hands.
Okay, I'll stress it's where I think I've got very little fold equity then.
Right, okay. Yeah, well, it depends on your opponent.
So therefore, if I think I've got very little fold equity, then the lower ones, if I'm chip leader and it's not going to affect the lead, I can afford to do it, then I will pass that one and looking just to be aggressive with an average hand next time. And I'm going to be big blind next time anyway, on the button.
Yeah, which is not so good because you lose the initiative. I mean, he's the guy who can lead out.
Yeah, but you're still, he can do, but if he doesn't, it's still massive to be on the, it's massive to have the button and the big blind. Well, there it was. That was a really good sit and go. We're
so busy discussing
big
the ins and outs
discussion
of
there.
the-
No, it's quite interesting though. It's a
yeah.
matter of this small blind being out of position is the thing.
But I think there's a big difference between moving all in with 6-8 suited there and deuce 3 off, because 32% is where you're going to be with 2-3 at best, and 40% is probably where you're going to be with 6-8 suited. That's a big difference.
Yeah. It is.
40-60 or 32-68, I mean, that's huge. So, I mean, you do have to have values there. It's not just a case of always pushing.
Yes, it's not going to be on average. The 6-8 won't be on average 40%.
Yeah, it will be. It's 2 undercards with suited and
Yeah,
connecting.
but it's 5-1 against when it's against a pair.
Sorry?
It's a 5-1 against
when
one.
it's against a pair.
Yeah, no, but that's
how?
the point, because it's low cards. It's more likely to be against one of the big. It can be against the bigger pairs, so that knocks it down as on average.
Fair enough. If it's against a pair, but I mean, if it's against a pair, then it's not your day, is it? You better not go out.
Yeah, true. Okay, interesting. Contact us. You can text us at 84222, and you put in poker and your question. Or you can email us at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Okay, I'll tell you what, a little bit of variety here. Let's go and have a look at that cash game.
I thought you were going to say a little bit of Monaco then.
Here we are.
Oof.
One seat open, Tom. Get in quick.
Okay. I've got a sit and go dates.
Oh, right, okay.
Doesn't sound too promising, does it?
Yeah, you sat and she went. Pretty useless.
Sore points.
Okay, this is 25 cent, 50 cent cash game. I wish you'd go back on the big games again, Tom. Well, we used to be regularly commentating the $25, $50, didn't we?
Everyone's done all their money.
Oh, right. But it was great.
It's all gone to the house rake. Ah, well, them were the days. Still, there's always things to be said at every level.
Mind you, this has proved to be a good game, to tell the truth. And this must be the highest standard 25 cent, 50 cent game in the land. These guys could go in for the 25 cent, 50 cent championships and be in there as favourites.
3 times the big blind from 4 King Ace. He's got a bit of extra incentive to put in the bet there because Sortimus has posted a compulsory blind there with a random hand. Trouble is, he often gets sort of big fights over that little compulsory blind, don't you? Everyone else calls.
A little taster.
4 King Ace has just at it to pick up the extra 50 cents.
Little sweetener to the pot. Oh, look at him. He decided he could have defended. He's got position. Not much else.
Oh, I love that bet. It's
FKA.
tempting Sortimus to raise him with a fit of
150.
peak. I'm sure 4 King Ace knew or believed he was ahead there.
And I think he'd put that small in because he saw how little Sortimus had behind him, actually. $7.19.
Yeah. Yeah, he's looking for Sortimus to think he had some fold equity by shoving it all in.
Exactly, yeah. He was just nipping him, trying to tease him. Go on, all in, all in.
Yeah.
So he gave him enough chips to bully with.
Shortage of aces and 5s out there.
Queen high winning.
No one can really bet here because even if someone hasn't got an ace, if they've got a 5, they're probably going to call.
Someone might have a king.
They might indeed, yeah. But a queen is good if no one calls, for sure. I think he was ahead there, wasn't he?
He was ahead anyway. Well, he was splitting it. He went from scooping instead of splitting. They say it's nice to share, but Morrison decided it wasn't.
I've never believed that.
Who started this?
Nice to free roll.
Who started this saying?
I don't know. Someone who didn't have anything. Crumble ace king off. What are you going to do with it? 2?
What about Kamichi? Oh no, he's not playing his 4-5 suited. Yes, 150. Go on.
2. Oh,
Oh,
saucy.
1, 2, 5.
Well, 2.5. Now that is an exotic bet. 2.5 times the big blinds.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. Up against a gut shot.
That's one of my new levels on my cash game.
2.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
And run us briefly through your reasoning for the 2.5 big blind raise.
Because I think that I get more people now making some bad calls, and I'm in a cash game where I don't have to protect my life. I just have to have enough money to be able to buy more chips if needs be. But I do want people to be calling when they've got the worst hand, because I'm now gaining an advantage over them.
And you're not worried about getting too many callers?
It depends on the game I'm in. If I suddenly find that I will alter my raise. If I'm in a game where every man and his dog calls, well, okay, well, I now will change my raise. What I say, I'll check the exchange rate. I'll see what the sort of the price of the raise is at this table. So yes, if I find I get overcalled by it, then I'll have to adapt. But if I'm at a table where I've set my stall out and what my raise levels are, then I'll keep on doing it. And if that thins it enough, that'll be fine. And certain hands, of course, I don't mind if it doesn't thin it so much. If I've done a raise in late position with, say, if it's been just a limp or whatever, and I've done a raise in late position with like ace, queen suited, it plays reasonably well against people calling.
Yeah, suited cards, volume pots.
Yep, can make a nut flush, can make a nut straight. So I'm not that fearful of too many people being there. It just means that I'll be more prepared to get out of it if I haven't really connected. But yeah, so I've been experimenting with that. Also in a short-handed game, I've actually even been experimenting with just making raises, flat raises, but quite a lot of them.
You mean a minimum raise?
Yes. And but now I've increased the volume of raises because I've been playing in a 5-seater game, and I've been doing the minimum raise with all types of hands, including premium hands.
It's interesting. I use the minimum raise a lot more in small and certainly heads-up games, and I've never really been sure why I do it, but I just thought it's the right thing to do.
It's just because it totally disguises your raise. And it means that you can go there, you are asking a question. In the end, once they say that's his raise, you are asking a question. But it's a cheap question for you. It doesn't cost you a lot. You can get away from it if you want to. But you've also disguised a really strong hand as well.
And given that when you're in a short-handed game, your hand really can't ever be, or isn't going to be as strong as you can afford to wait for in a full-handed game, I find in some games, certainly in heads-up games, I find I just keep getting raised off my minimum raise, and I'm thinking, well, I'm burning off chips here at twice the rate I would be if I was calling. I've got to change my style. Do you find you run into that problem sometimes?
In a short-handed game?
Yeah.
No, in the short-handed game, the one I've been playing in, I've found out that I don't get re-raised that many times.
Okay, then it's a great raise.
And it seems that I get re-raised when the guy's got a big hand. And
Perfect.
And now I leave a small amount of money behind.
Yeah.
But no, they say, oh, he's raised. It's like the raise has been done, he's done it. And what it's done is it's given me the freedom now to raise with quite a few different hands. But again, I still look for position in that, even a five-seater game. Late position, there's not too much there, I'll pop in this.
Mm-hmm.
It tends to slow down the action. In fact, what happens is they often check to the raiser when the flop comes.
Mm-hmm. So you get a free card.
Yeah.
So it's a bet for a wolf amongst sheep.
So if you're in a game there where they allow you to do it, it's very good. But your point is very good as well, is that if you find that this is not working, don't, for goodness sake, just stick to it. You must now change.
Well, Latinator didn't raise in the small blind. He's raising now, but he's up against top pair. Snaky lets it go. I wonder if he's been timed out. Bit surprising, to say the least. However, he may know something we don't. And Queen Jack in small blind again, good enough for a bet. Now he's up against a random hand, and Kamichi's hand is not bad. Trying to keep it cheap. And wow, what an explosive flop, given there's only two players. One of them flopped the flush, the nut flush, and Rudy's caught himself a gut shot and flush straw. The nut straight, I should say, for Kamichi, beg his pardon. I'm sure he knew what I was saying. So it's a massive hand for both of them. It could all pile in here.
Oh, and there's the flush.
And a paired board just to confuse things for them.
It's like you knew he was going to get the flush there, Tom. He said flop the nut flush. I'm thinking, what?
Kamichi's got the redraw.
You've got the inside information here.
Let's have another diamond just to
Oh, goodness, that would be really horrible.
It'd be fun, James.
Wow, look at that. And Rod Daniel there, what a result. Kamichi is, with that nut straight, suddenly flushed away. And Rod Daniel couldn't care about the paired board. Couldn't care about a queen flush. He said, listen, I'm just delighted to hit it. And we're going to see a good pass from Kamichi. Well done. A pair there to help him on his way.
Yeah, I don't mind the all-in from Rudd there, because I think a lot of players will just say, oh, go on then, let's see if you've got it.
Yes, it's probably not much difference. We've got to ask ourselves, would Kamichi call for $10? I don't know whether he would. Maybe not. I think Kamichi's just read it well. I think hopefully he would just pass out anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And Rudd doesn't necessarily know anything about Kamichi, and there are some players who, if they're going to call for 10, will call for 20.
Yes,
so
that's right. So he was probably maximising his payoff there. So I will agree with you. I think that's probably the right thing to do, especially with the amount of chips you've got there. If you're down to a low stack, you might as well say, oh, go on all in.
Yeah.
I'm either going home or staying.
And a lot of money gets made in No Limit from understanding that kind of value No Limit bet. I mean, do use it. If you think there's a chance you'll get paid, it's your privilege in a No Limit game to stick in that bet. You can't do it in Pot Limit.
No, that's right. I had a quite nice one like that today, actually. I was playing a bit in this short-handed game, and suddenly the dream hand came where I'd made my house, And in the end, I forget how the bet was, but in the end, I just go all in. And it's big. And the guy calls, he's actually made trip 8s.
Wow.
But I've got a pair of 4s which had made a house of 4s. And in the end, he pays it all off. And it's a massive bet. He just wipes himself out.
Yeah.
But that was probably a case, if he's going to call me, he's going to call me here anyway. If he's made something good enough to call me, or in his mind, he's probably going to call either. And then also, he thinks maybe I'm trying to push him off it possibly as well. That's what he was obviously thinking when he called it trip 8. So sometimes there is a case, especially on the internet there, you can just have a splosh there with your big hand. You'd be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, and you make a lot of money at the end of the year by doing that, I think.
Okay, this will be our last hand at the moment, Tom, but there will be more later.
Will there?
Yeah, promise.
I thought we were just going to show some pictures of people swimming.
Of your Polish exploits.
Dear God, I hope there's none out there. If you have any, I'll buy them off you.
Yes. Okay, right. Let's have a look at an email,
Okay.
Tom. Actually, I'll tell you what. We'll go to Andy, the one I did actually ask him to pop an email in. And this is from Andy, concerning my 9-9 against King earlier.
Oh yeah, good fold.
I had a quick look at chip stacks and realised the only guy that I could knock me out was the guy I was gambling with. I realised even if I was winning, it wasn't such a good bet, brackets being on the bubble, and decided to lay it down. What a great fold. I feel very hard done by the way I went out when I was holding ace-8 and went out to 8-9, but at least I did the right thing. I've lost so much lately, I don't feel confident at all. Any advice how to get out of a rut? Cheers, guy, will watch always. Well, can't get more dedicated than that, can you? Tom, he's going to watch always, so I think it's down to you to give him some advice about how to get out of this rut.
Well, basically, Andy, you played the hand nicely. You made a good fold. You got all your chips in with the best of it when you got knocked out. You're unlucky, as you say. And it's going to happen an awful lot. So just stick in there. Don't let it put you on tilt. And, of course, over time, poker is a long-term game. You will reap your rewards. Just view this temporary setback as a chance to practice your own emotional maturity. Because in the end, that is what will see you through to be a winning player, provided you've got the actual intellectual goods, which I'm sure you do. How was that?
Cracking answer.
Was that too sort of vicar and tea?
No, it's quite nice.
Okay.
I quite liked it when you said lut, though, because it rhymed with rut. An email.
Any more emails?
An email from Stephen. Hi, guys. Good to see you back, Tom. There you are. It's the same as me. I said that at the beginning of the show. It is good to see him back. And I look forward to a great show. I was wondering if you could give me your opinions of a play I made earlier. And here's a play I made earlier. It was early in a sit and go, and I was dealt queen, in early position. I made a raise to 3 times the big blind, and the guy to my immediate left, I'll tell you what, Tom.
What?
I've had a little word in my ear, and I've got a feeling we're going to be badly timed on this one.
Oh, okay.
And it's too good an email to waste. So what I'm going to say is, we really want lots of these emails, especially of this quality. And so if you could text us or email us, we'll be delighted to hear from you. And there on the screen is your text number. It's 84222. Put in the word poker and your question. We really do want them. Or email us at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Right, after the break, it's going to be Beat the Presenter with Dr. Tom. So we're going to really look forward to that. Are you looking forward to that, Tom?
Don't take the phrase too literally. I mean, it could...
No, yes.
Could
go
be
easy on the
titles,
presenter after the break.
Presenter, be outdrawn by the presenter. Those are also fine.
All right.
Those are names we thought about when we came up with
Don't
the
mess with the big blind of the presenter.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm planning to play very loose and aggressively on this occasion. I made a bad fold last time. I played a sit and go against Noxy Sal, and I put down an overpair to him. So it's not going to happen again, Noxy Sal. I'm just warning you.
Are you going to try a long structure for a change?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Good.
What are you casting nasturtiums at me, James Brown?
Not at all. Look forward to seeing you after the break. Welcome back to Poker Night Live. I'm James Browning, and this is my co-presenter and friend, Dr. Tom Sambrook. And we've got loads for you in this half of the show. Tom will be playing a Beat the Presenter. We'll be answering all your emails and texts, and we'll probably have some really good discussion point, because Tom and I normally find one somewhere through the night. Tonight, I would think, will be no exception. Anyway, Tom, if you don't mind, before you just dive into your Beat the Presenter, why don't we just tackle this email, because it looks quite a good one.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, and this is from Stephen. Hi guys, good to see you back, Tom. He hasn't said it twice, we just started it before.
Thank you, Steve.
And I look forward to a great show. I was wondering if you'd give me your opinions of a play I made earlier today. It was earlier in the sit and go, and I was dealt queen-queen in early position. I made a raise to 3 times the big blind, and the guy to my immediate left, who I knew to be quite a solid player, re-raised to just over 3 times my raise, and it was folded to me. At this point, I had him on pairs of maybe 10s and upwards. Ace-king, maybe ace-queen. The play I made was to limit re-raise him for the following reasons. If he has ace-ace or king-king, he will push all in, and I can get away from it with some chips to play with. If he has ace-queen, ace-king, jack-jack, or 10-10, he may just fold and I take the pot down. Or he will call, and I know I'm probably ahead if no ace or king flops. However, if I had just called and the flop had come low, I would not have known where I was, and could have lost my stack trying to find out, especially with me out of position. Was there anything wrong with my play? And as a side note, in my situation, would you have shown the queens to try and gain respect, or mucked them for fear of people trying to bully you later on? As it happened, he pushed all in and I folded, retaining roughly half my stack. He showed his aces, and as I expected, I got a lot of stick from the table for putting in the 3rd raise and then folding. I didn't show my queens. Thanks so much for a great programme.
Thanks for that, Stephen. Yeah, this is a very interesting email. I quite like his play there. Somehow it feels more like a cash game play than a sit-and-go play. What's crucial there is that you knew something about your opponent. I think if you don't know anything about your opponent in a sit-and-go, especially if it's a low-stakes one, then to be honest, getting all your money in the middle with queens probably is going to be the winning play there, because a lot of the time you'll find your opponent turns over some sort of nonsense like 10 jack suited. I do like your logic. I think it was perfectly sound. You did put yourself in a situation where you were able to make the right decision, which was folding on that occasion, whereas if you'd started raising too much, then you could only force your opponent to do the right thing, which was to get it all in with aces or kings and fold a lower pair. So that's basically sound poker. I think probably much of it hinges on whether you know what your opponent knows about you. If you've got a reason to think that he thinks you're solid, then of course that makes his raise look all the much stronger. You've raised under the gun, of course, 3 times the big blind. Some people will do that with a wide range of hands. They like to mix it up, but some people really will only do it with ace-king or a big pair, maybe queens upwards, not even jacks. So if you think your opponent has you pegged as that sort of player, maybe you are that sort of player, then that's a very important thing to factor in when you're trying to work out what his raise means. You correctly worked it out there. I would say that I think you're absolutely right not to show the queens, and a very important part of what happened was that although you lost money, it was a terrific piece of advertising, because if your opponents will give, if your people at the table will give you stick about your play, they don't realise how well you played it. You got away from it about as cheaply as you could have, and they may wrongly think you're the sort of person who puts in random re-raise bluffs, chasing a bluff that's gone wrong. So no way should you have folded. You're quite right to do that, but make a little mental note about the people who put stuff in the chat box about you. Make a note on your notes about them, what they think of you. That's an important point, that they think you are capable of that sort of play. Because if you have people who think that you're a tricksy player, fantastic. All you have to do is to play your basic textbook game. That's wonderful. It's great to be in a situation where you can be deceptive playing sound poker. That really is wonderful. So no way should you have shown the queens.
Very good, Tom, very good. I'll tell you what I did like there especially was where Tom said, make notes about what people said about you in the chat boxes. I think that's a great one. I like that very, very much indeed. One thing I would say is here, Tom's also comment on here saying he wasn't so sure, he thought it was like a cash game play. I think what we did need to know here was actually how many chips you had and actually what the levels were. Because for this sort of play, you really need to have quite a lot of play.
You've got to be deep.
If this was in the early stages, which I presume it was, well then I think you have got enough play for it.
Yeah.
If it was in the later stages, now I don't think you've got enough play for keyhole surgery, because this is keyhole surgery, which
It is. I think you said it was early in a sit and go, which in some ways is like a cash game.
Okay, so therefore, in that case, if it is the early bit, I must have missed that bit. But if you, as long as I don't know what multiple of chips you had with the blinds or whatever, but if you have a good multiple of chips, then I think the play is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it. Okay, I thought it was a cracking email. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed Tom's answer as well. Tom, I think it's time, I'm afraid, for you to go searching.
Here we go.
Searching for your opposition.
Let me see. We've got TV Table Nicholson.
Okay, while Tom is searching... Oh, he's
keeping a seat available for me.
Oh, they have.
I'm in. I'm playing.
How nice is that?
As is my wont with someone else's money.
I'll tell you what, while Tom is playing, we're going to go and have a look at a game. And so why not check out the green? Right, we've got 15 players left in this tournament. And this was a rebuy tournament. And I think they could rebuy and add on one of each. So it's a $10 rebuy, $1 add-on. There were 48 runners to start with, and I'm going to try and find out for you what the total number of chips after the add-ons and rebuys was. I've found that out for you, and it was 124,500 chips. So that tells us where we are. And there's 5 places are played in this tournament. And the total prize pool is going to be $830. And the average stack now is going to be $8,300. So there we go. 15 players left, 8 on one table and 7 on the other. And this is the big stack table. And we can see that's Everbright. And no wonder he's Everbright with a stack like that. He's got 35,000. We've got Daz. Sounds like a battle here, doesn't it? Daz against Everbright. Oh, we know who's going to lose. Jaded. Never mind. But Jaded's not going to lose and is pushed all in with ace-3 suited in the cutoff. It's come up against half-face with a pair of 2s, but pair of 2s doesn't look too strong when looking into the eyes of a big raise, and he surrenders. Daz, 7-9 off suit, no thanks, and not too many juicy hands out there, and I think we might get round to the small blind with quite tight. But Jaded's contemplating. No, Jaded is ace-suited. He's pushed again. The blinds are 200, 400 here, so each round costing 600. Jaded's now gone up to 6,400. I don't know whether he has to use the all-in play all the time now, but I think he's got enough play to put in a regular raise again. So will he adjust? That's what we'll be looking for. One has to adjust. I think there's a level there. When you really short stack, when you've only got about 5 rounds of play left, then I think all-in is the correct play. And he has adjusted. Well, I'm glad to see that. Jaded has adjusted there. He switched to 3 times the big blind. I thought actually last time maybe he should have switched, but I think it's because he wasn't too keen on his hand. He decided to maximise his fold equity. But he has switched here, and I like that. He's actually done 3 times the big blind because he's just got enough chips. Now he's gone to 7,000, giving himself even a bit more play. Coco Pops. King Jack suited, 3 times the big blind. Looks like Coco Pops is going to scoop. I think Coco Pops was also playing last night, so you'll be forgiven for thinking this is a cereal.
That's not bad, James.
Oh, isn't it?
Got through the radar, that one.
Cartoon head, pair of jacks. And 8,330 all in from Cartoon Head, and he's up against a pair of 9s for Bond. Or Bonu. Beg your pardon, Bonu. And the 9 to put it down, well done. Quite tight. Not tight this time, he pushes all in with his ace-king, but of course he's only got 2,970. No other play for him. Less than 5 circles of the table. And he takes the 600, which is a welcome sight to his stack, and takes him over 3,500. And he's been moved. Ah, balancing of the tables. Because we just lost a play at the other table, so he's moved because we've got 14 runners left, 7 at each table. And he was delighted to be moved because he just missed the big blind there. What a result. Everbright, pair of jacks, with a check preceding him, before him. I'm sure that he must have liked it. He did. Wasn't too fearful of the ace. Found out where he was. Always important to find out where you are in poker. Bonu, flat raise, under the gun. And Daz with ace 10. Interesting to see what he's getting 3-1 his money there, and he decides to call. Well, it's not a great flop for him. But is he going to try? Yes, I had a feeling he might push. He put in 400. And neither player is connected, but Bonu called this bet. Now what's Daz going to do? Puts 400 in again. Can't really expect a pass from that, can he? Too small a proportion of the pot, and I think he's actually just frittered away some money. Oh no, he's called! I don't understand that at all. Did not like that call. And I don't really think, and I really does, I did not like that play because you just didn't have a big enough stack here. You couldn't afford to be popping in another 800. It was a significant percentage of your stack. You were playing a hand there which had not connected. You tried to steal it, but then you did a weak little bet the next time, and then called a re-raise way off the chart, and just something you couldn't afford. Someone with a massive stack could only afford that, not you. And I still wouldn't have liked it from them. Well, Everbright's got a pair of 8s in the big blind, but Cartoon Head has got Nina's from Pasadena. Oh! And they've gone. What was that about? Pair of 9s. Did I misread it? I can't believe a pair of 9s just passed. In the cutoff with a pair of 9s. Maybe it's my eyes. Half ace raises with his ace 10. And we've got an ace in the big blind. It's 1400 in the middle. Oh, and he's raised. Ah. Oh my goodness, it's going to be trouble because he's actually raised and hit his ace. But now he's bet. Now half ace, are you confident in your kicker? He obviously is. He's gone all in. And, oh, on the river, a 9. Very cruel for half ace there. Jaded got really fortunate there. Was losing, bad shape. Saved in the river. Cruel game again. So we've had a flat raise from Daz, Jack Queen suited. And I think you can get the blinds here. You can see where there's another empty seat there. In fact, we've got 6 on each table. We're down to 12 runners. And the average stack now is 10,375. I'll tell you what, after this hand, let's have a little look at the other table so we can see all the contestants, which will be interesting. Well, we've got a pair of 3s here for Bonu, and Cartoon Head has not connected. He's checked, there's a bet, and I think he's going to put... Oh, no, he's done a raise. Well, he sensed weakness, and Bonu there, it's very difficult now, just a pair of 3s. What's he going to do? Is it all or nothing? As the small faces said. And here is the other one, the other table. Buffy Be Good, quite tight. Popov, Lee, Mandave, or Mank Dave, and Scotty. And we've come to a pot with some action from Quite Tight, who's pushing all in. He survives again, gets back to that 3-5-70. That's exactly what he had when he left the other table. I have this weird memory for numbers. Scotty. Oh, and it's American Airlines, small blind. And it's going to get paid, I feel. Maybe not. Yes, it does. I've sensed it. And trip aces, how sweet it is.
What, against a mighty gut shot? What are you talking about, you maniac?
Look at this. Oh, he's checked it. Popov. Well, I think there could have been something just to be said to be betting on the flop as it happens. You've got trips. Your opponent might feel with 2 draws. Well, you managed to sneak 400. But if he was prepared to call that on the turn, he might have called the flop, the full price on the flop. Never mind. And I think in that case, I think Lee should have done that because he had his opponent well covered in chips. He didn't have to try and push him out or anything. He just wanted to capture all those chips. And I think with a possible draw on the flop, although he didn't know what his opponent had, but there could be a draw on the flop for his opponent, he might as well have just pushed in because the guy didn't have so many chips. He might have decided that he would make his last stand. Lee's got ace-8. The blinds are up to 300, 600 now. And it's a walk for Scotty. A 900-point walk, which is pretty good. And make sure you let Dr. Tom have a walk on the blinds every now and again. I think it's only fair.
Someone's been knocked out, James.
Hope it wasn't you.
Nope.
It's good news. That's it. You've got the 8th position out the way. That's it. Nothing to worry about now. Did you knock him out?
No, nothing to do with me.
Pair of 9s, Buffy Be Good. 1800, 3 times, the big blind. Mank Dave on the button with ace-8. And it's pressed the all-in button. And he's called straight away by 9s. 3, 4, 10, 7. At another 10, it gives 2 pairs to Buffy, 10s and 9s, and that wasn't it. Man Dave there, he's only got 60 left. And he's pushed it in. Oh dear. No, and it's bye-bye Man Dave. Bye-bye Popoff. It was the double knockout this time. And Buffy Be Good's gone to 15,530. Quite tight pushes, A7. Another successful push. Keeps himself in, gets to the 4770. Wow, that's the best we've seen him with for a while. Buffy Be Good, I'm bound to make a bet there. He's got a load of chips. 1800 he makes it. Okay, we're down to 10 players now. Average obviously 12.45, 12,450. Lee 3-2 in the bin, I'd imagine. Okay, it'll be quite interesting watching this sort of latter stages of this when we've got 10 players left to see if we see any alterations in their play trying to get to the final table. I know there's only 5 prizes, but people still sort of want to get to that final table. Pair of queens, Buffy Be Good, finding some hands at the right time and captured some more chips and goes up to 17,730 and picks up another hand. But quite tight, I think, will be probably making his move with a pair of 7s. No! And passes them. Wow. Well, with the blinds at 300, 600, and only that many chips, I'm afraid I would have had to make a move there with a pair of 7s. And we've lost a play at the other table, and we're down to 9 runners now. And quite tight survives that one, and has now got over 9,000. He feels really rich now. Buffy Be Good, King Kong.
I'm playing more like a pygmy chimp.
A what chimp?
A pygmy chimp.
A pygmy chimp. But they are cute. Lee, Motown, Jackson 5. Jaded, Queen 9 on the button. It's got 7,000 chips, yes. Oh, and pushes. Well, okay, good. Scotty's got the jack, second pair. And it's good enough, and they're really motoring here. This game is flying along. Quite tight. raises with his ace. Jaded surrenders. Fluffy be good. No thanks. And we've got the Battle of the Diamonds. Oh no, there's 2 diamonds up there. We could see, but Leader's got the 8s as well. Pair of 8s, and it's quite tight who's made the move. Now, what is Lee going to do? Yes, he's asking him the question, and this is going to be tough for quite tight. He's going to feel that he's got 2 overcards and a flush draw. Oh, there's trip 8s, and it's all over for quite tight. He didn't connect anyway at all. Lee had the 8, as well as having been covered on the flush draw. Trip 8s, well, no gripes once you see the cards there quite tight. You were on the wrong end of that one. And that's it. That has taken us to the final table. Well, very interesting. And I'll tell you what, we'll now go back to a cash game. And here we are back at the 25-cent, 50-cent cash game. Now please continue to send in your emails. Tom and I are hungry for your questions. There you are. Or you can text poker and put your question in and text it to 84222. 84222. Or you can email us at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Now please send us lots and lots of emails, lots of questions. We love this show to be interactive. For people who've been on the table, any comments you've heard, you didn't agree with, or you did agree with, or you didn't like, it doesn't matter. We're happy to discuss them. We like to be as interactive as possible. Take advantage of this amazing facility. Who could have dreamt you could be emailing in live TV programs and getting your questions answered for free? Latinator with the 9s, but lurking behind the button with the knaves.
That's a very poetic way of putting it, James.
Thank you. Surreptitiously, they popped in $1.50. Called by 7-8 suited. Mark on his day off. No, suited it wouldn't be Mark. Called by King 10, who must be delighted with the flop. 10 King 6. Wow. And he's checked, and the door is open for the Jacks, who've actually showed restraint and only popped in $1.50. And the 7-8, I'm Not a Minger, is called, has got a middle pin straight draw and a backdoor flush draw. Crumble could not contain himself anymore and put in the big re-raise of $8. The Jacks, probably fearful of the King, pass correctly. And I'm Not a Minger, who was only on there with the middle pin straight draw and the backdoor flush draw, is still thinking. Thinking if I hit, I'm sure I'll win, but passes anyway. So Katie got the money. Katie, of course, being King 10. For those of you just joining the show, welcome. I'm James Browning, and I'm with Dr. Tom. Dr. Tom is playing Beat the Presenter at the moment. We'll be reviewing that in the next segment of the show. At the moment we're watching a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game. Maximum buy-in $50. And we've just seen an all-in play from the pair of tens. Fishing Maz has put in $5.60. I'm not a minger. Pair of eights there, but there is a queen on the flop. And Latinator with ace deuce, an easy pass, although he had the 2. And Fishing Mez has gone up to $8.45. Still a fair way to go, especially if he started with $50. Well, not much out here in the following hands, but we're back to the blinds as I thought, and it's a walk for Nick. Have you had a walk yet, Tom?
More like a stumble. No, they've been quite good with the walks, though LPIG keeps nicking the small blinds.
Ah. El Pig. I'm not a minger. It's got a pair of kings. Morrison checks. Ace-10. No connection of the flop. I'm not a minger. Very confident that his kings are winning. The bet's a chunky bet. $8 and just takes down the dosh. Aces! Give them to Dr. Tom. Crumble, 6-3. Aces! What's he going to bet? Think of the price. 50 cents! He's just called the tricky AB. Fishing Maz has just called with King 2 offsuit. Kamichi raises with a pair of lucky 7s. Lucky for AB, that is. Who just calls. Good deceptive play there by AB. Decided to be deceptive in the beginning and continued to be deceptive when he just called, which I think is quite good. And he's now put in a bet, but unfortunately for him, there are 2 overcards on the flop, which could cause Kamichi some concern. But I like that, AB. You decided to limp, fair enough. Your opponent pops in the money, you don't do any raise, you just keep on being deceptive. You kept the style together. You were just unfortunate that the flop was a wee bit scary for your opponent. However, if your opponent had hit the top pair, your play would have probably enabled you to get a rather large pot. And maximising your wins in money games is one of the things we have to be doing. Tom, you've got the giggles.
Delighted to see LPIG finally called by someone and his starting values revealed to the world.
Ah.
Doesn't matter who won. I knew it, but I just didn't quite have the gumption to call.
Well, all will be revealed later.
Well, he's got the chip lead, James, so he's doing something right.
We will find out all the gory details about LPIG. It will be revealed here on Poker Night Live. Read all about it. Watch it. LPIG in all his glory. Meanwhile, watch Nicken. And it looks like he might be nicking. He's bet 7-8 suited and there's nothing on the flop to resemble it, apart from a 6 of hearts, which takes imagination to see it as a positive. Runner type imagination. Ace King, big slick, nicking. He's not nicking this time, he's got a real hand. 4 times the big blind, $2. Crumble, who had that success with the King 10 before, but decided to let this one go, even though he was on the button. $2. I'm not a minger. Queen 7, no connection again, and he's just going to take down the pot. Okay, pair of 2s. He's going to limp. Yes, he does. That looks pretty yucky hand, and I'm not a minger, not very tempting on the small blind, so he doesn't even make it up. Latinator just checks, no raise there, and it's ace 2-3. Oh, and how sweet that is, says Latinator, but little does he know, it's not sweet at all, because he's got 2 pairs, and he's trapping, and Kamichi's got trip 2s and only bet 50 cents. This is amazing. Latinator re-raises 150, and he bets $2.50. What's Kamichi going to bet? How much? How much? $7.50. Could you have gone all in and got paid? I'm not a minger. Pair of queens. Makes it $2. $2. Wins 75 cents. Big raise from the pair of 8s, the snowmen. And it's a house for fishing mares. 3 2s, 2 aces. He's now got up to double figures, $10. Well, we can see a pair of 7s on the big blind, and we can see, well, limp there, and look, there's Nicken, who's got ace-king suited on the button. Now, he'd like to see another limper come in. No, it doesn't happen. He's made it $2. Kamichi says no. Morrison, I think, will probably have a look at this, knowing Morrison. He does, he calls it, and it's heads up, pair of 7s against ace-king. Morrison there, 2 over cards and suited. So he's unlucky. Oh, but he decided to bet anyway. Wow. And that's strange, because we'll see there that, of course, he hasn't got the 7 of hearts himself, which means one of the 7s he'll hit he won't like because it looks like a flush. But maybe he didn't even consider that. And he's now been re-raised by Nicken, who must have had a crystal ball or just a good perception of his opponent and realised that he could bully him out of the pot. Morrison passed the winning hand there, as the ace-king hadn't connected and the 7s were well in front. Well, we've seen a lot of big pairs here, aren't we? Here's the ladies again. The price of the raise has gone up. He's made it $3 this time. I think the Queen wants to get a bit of action there, and I don't think she'll be over-betting. Talking about the size of raises before there. The problem there is if you over-bet with a pair like Queens, you're going to get action from the hands you don't like. You're going to get action from aces, kings, and maybe ace-king. Ace-king suited. But you're definitely going to get the action from the 2 you don't like, which is aces and kings. So if you drop the size of your raise, you will now get action from a lot wider selection of hands. And you'll get action from hands who are worse than you, and that's what you want to do. This is a money game. You want to get action with your good hands. Ace 4, 5, 5. So we've got 2 pairs for Nicken, 2 aces, 2 aces and 5s with a king against aces and 5s with a jack for crumble. $10.75 in the middle. He bets $4.50. Crumble, I think we'll pay him off. He does so. Okay, Kamichi, king 8, no. Crumble might have a look here with a pair of fifis.
It's all over. I'm back.
You're back?
I'm back from the land of sit and go.
Well, I'm not going to ask you how you got on, and I don't want to know, because I want it to be a surprise.
Oh, okay.
So I've not been watching,
All right.
deliberately, because I want it to be fresh. Were there any interesting situations? Just to
Yeah,
whet our
there's always
appetite?
interesting situations. I'm looking forward to talking through it. I'm not entirely happy with my game, James.
Okay. It's funny sometimes, you know, when one does play, inside you go, I wasn't happy. You know if you're not happy sometimes, even without thinking of the specifics sometimes.
I think there's one hand I felt I just ended up on grooves that were well worn, and it was a bit obvious to everyone. So, but apart from that, well, we'll see.
We'll wait for that. Well, this is the latter stages of a cash game here. We've been watching, saw some quite interesting play in the rebuy tournament. And Morrison just winning with the best hand there.
Is that allowed in poker?
Yes, it is allowed. It sort of adds to the credibility of it if the best hand wins a few times. Not all shocks. I'll tell you what, Tom. We've got some emails, so we'll just look at this hand, this last hand here. I'm not a minger. It doesn't look like it's going to be a stonking encounter, this, to tell the truth. Oh! The rapidity of the passing there was quite good. He went... No, I quite like that. Kamichi, he's put in a raise from the small blind with ace-deuce. Morrison. Yes. And he passes. Okay, and welcome back to myself and Dr. Tom, who's just finished his Beat the Presenter. We don't know how he did. We're going to wait till the next segment of the show. Anyway, in the meantime, I've got some emails, so let me have a look. And we've got one here from Steve, who we know better as Balrog, UK. Tom and James. Yep. Agree selection at end of sit and go made couple of dodgy decisions watching it back. In defence, I gave up thinking by HU.
Heads up?
Oh, by heads up, yes, sorry, yes. Playing a couple of tables and was not really watching properly, so just kept all inning, in fact, he's done. Wasn't aware the bounder, I'll translate that one for you, would be shown and would have made different decisions maybe once or twice. Next bit may refer to something not yet shown, by the way. Part of,
Poker Night Live multi-table tourney.
all right.
He's been watching it online.
All right. I'll tell you what. I'll leave that bit then till after. I will check it out. Now we'll go to the next one. Thanks for that, Steve. Anyway, big of you to admit that, in fact, that you didn't play that quite up to your capability there. But it just shows that when we're doing two things or playing more than one table, how easy it is for our standards to drop. And I think that's something that we have to be aware of. I do multi-table myself, but you really have to make sure that you're really you are concentrating. Otherwise, you can just find you're playing on automatic pilot, and you're really going to be quite sloppy at times. And you've got to be careful that you don't let your standard drop too much. Otherwise, you're negating the advantages of playing multi-tables if you let it drop too much. One has to be aware that it might drop a little bit. We can't help that, but hopefully, by multi-tabling, our hourly rate will compensate for it. Make sure that it doesn't cross over, though.
I think, to be honest, if you're at the heads up, Steve, I mean, even if you're playing a cash game, if I'm playing cash games and I'm at the heads up stage of a sit and go, I just sit out of the cash games. And even if you're in a sit and go where you can't do that, you know, unless you're a brilliant heads up player, you need to give your full, in fact, even if you are a brilliant heads up player, you must give your full attention to it. And the value of playing well in the heads up is so huge in a sit and go because there's such a big difference between second and first. So I think your wisest, even if you've got 3 other sit and goes on the go, is literally to make a decision not to get involved except with big cards and just pay attention to the heads-up game unless you're brilliant at multitasking, because there's so much value in that stage of the game.
Yes, I couldn't agree more with Tom there, because I think, one, the heads-up stage, especially when the blinds are big there, doesn't last very long anyway. No. So just concentrate for that moment of time. So, you know, I would agree with Tom there. Okay, anyway, good. As I said, the very fact that you've admitted it, this is actually a plus point in itself, because if you're able to admit your mistakes in this game, you have a chance to improve at this game. It's the people who think that they're number one in the world and can't admit their mistakes who in fact have a problem improving. Would you not agree with that?
I would agree with that, James, yeah. I would agree with that.
Okay, we've got another email here from Voice of Joe.
Okay, sounds great.
Good evening, Tom and James. Great show as always. Can you please help? I've been tracking my poker fortunes accurately since the middle of May, and I'm doing okay in both ring and sit and goes. Well done. I've played 100 sit and goes and have made the money 47% of time.
Fantastic.
The problem I have is this. I've finished first 19 times and second 23 times, third in 10-seaters 5 times. Doesn't seem like a problem to me. Mm-hmm. Can you give me a little advice with my heads-up play? I'd like the first places to be more than the second places, or is this just reflective of the randomness of heads-up? I've lately been playing 6-seaters, and the prize money between first and second is quite a substantial percentage, so my bankroll could be improved greatly if my heads-up play improves also. I've been moving up the levels, but even so, the wins to seconds ratio hasn't varied much. Thanks in hope.
Yeah, certainly some things to say there. I mean, don't worry about it is the first thing I say there. There's absolutely no guarantee here that in the long run you are going to have more second place finishes than first place finishes, because the sample you've got there is it's about 50 games. I mean, nowhere is the difference between 19 and 23, which is your second and your first place finishes, statistically significant. It's absolutely tiny. When you've played 500 games, if you've got 190 and 230, that's a different kind of ballpark. But at the moment, you really can't draw any conclusions whatsoever from those statistics. Sadly, that cuts both ways, and you can't even, believe me, assume from those statistics that you're even a winning sit-and-go player. You need huge, huge samples before you can be certain about your long-term profit. But on the face of it, you're doing well, so don't worry about that. As I say, much further down the line, when you've got a much bigger sample, then you may find that you've got a problem with your first place finishes. However, something else I would say here is that even if you do find in the long run that you're a second place finisher rather than the first place finisher, have a look, keep a record of how many chips, what ratio of the chips you have when you arrive at the heads-up stage. Because if you're arriving on average with 50% of the chips at the heads-up stage, and you are a long-term second place finisher rather than first place finisher, it does imply there's a problem with your heads-up game. But some people are winning players, but they tend to arrive in the heads-up situation relatively short compared to their opponent. Their opponents may be losing players. You may find yourself regularly up against someone with a big stack in the heads-up stage, but that player, obviously every now and then, is going to get lucky. And if you're playing against 9 weak, aggressive players, then you may be the only winner on that table in the long run, but you are generally going to be the shortest stack one when you arrive heads up. So keep a record of what you arrive with at the heads up stage. But at the moment you're winning, so don't worry too much about it. That would be my advice.
Yeah, very good indeed. Coming second might put a smile on your girlfriend's face anyway. See you later. Hi, and welcome back to Poker Night Live, the best place to learn poker. I'm James Browning. This is Dr. Tom, and it's now time for us to have a look at what Dr. Tom was doing earlier.
Okay, what was I doing? Well, we'll find out. Let's take ourselves down to that sit and go.
We've got a picture of it.
Here we go. I've been bankrolled by Barry the Bully today. And you know how he feels about deuce 5 offsuit?
So you raised it up?
I would normally, but I sensed the aces there, and I thought, I'll let him go this time.
I must admit, Dr. Tom wasn't too gracious, really, because he was looking around whose account he could rob. And I said, well, try Barry's. He said he can't have any money.
Oh, thanks. That was said in confidence, James.
Oh, sorry. He was only joking.
Awful things get said in breaks here, but I don't spill the beans.
Well, you could.
I could indeed. So I've not connected, as you can see.
Barry would be upset if you didn't say that.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, FKA. Oh, and look at this. 8, 9, 10 Jack Queen for bullets. And a full house. Whoa, whoa.
What a start to the
What
competition.
a start. FKA just salivating at the thought of how much money he's going to get. How much can I charge? A regular question.
Yeah, the flush there, of course, didn't help him because it gave another reason for bullets to just flat call.
Yeah. But he got some money there, and there it is. Bullets had the straight on the turn. He didn't need another jack. In fact, it was the worst thing for him because it made the trip aces into a full house, captured his money. So, 772. I missed what you had there. Was it?
Queen 7 off,
Okay.
James.
I would played exactly the same. And Bullets has made it 120. 6 times the big blind. Nash Anubis.
Decides he's behind.
Just on this one, looks a quiet hand. Just to Joe there, who contacted us on that email before the show, which Tom answered, about his heads-up play. There's one other aspect. I mean, I like Tom's comment especially to say, because it might be you're actually going in there as the featherweight against the heavyweight, which might be helping to portray these figures. But go to a site and play some heads-up tournaments for small money. And just go and say, right, I'm going to play, and how much time you've got, so many a day for a month. And just then build up your data on your heads-up play.
Yep.
And you'll then get a really better idea of how you stand in them. And also, just playing heads-up play there, you will learn a lot. Well, King Kong. Oh, and he's been called by Bullets. My goodness. Well, if you're going to call with ace-jack, I suppose you're happy if they hit the jack.
Yeah, I remember this hand, and I didn't see Balor's hand. Bullet showed.
And he raises, flat raises. And Bullets now calls. But now there's a diamond there. Well, he must be worried about the jack now, surely.
Getting smaller and smaller, those bets, aren't they? And there's the jack.
Goodness me.
Yeah, Balor got hoist on his petard there.
Well, he got slowed down by the diamond. He was worried just in case Bullets maybe had the flush, I suppose. It all went horribly wrong from on the river. Of course, he was very unlucky because Bullets just had a couple of outs there.
That is one of the dangers of poker, is you're worried someone's made one draw, and so you slow down and give them a chance to make another. But there's really not a great deal you can do about it.
The thing is that Bullets, of course, was sitting there with 5 outs, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's got aces or his jacks, and I don't know how. I think there's a time there now where maybe Balor there should be quite happy to take down what he's got. He's in a one-life situation. He's not playing a money game. He's could have been in good shape in this tourney.
I think he was worried about raising into the made flush, and thought, well, if he's got outs, then and they're not the flush, well, there can't be a big number of outs. But of course, it was compounded by the fact that he paid Bullets off at the end, and that makes a serious difference to his calculations there.
Yes, that's right. That's a very good point. Ooh, and Bullets managed to bully his way to that one.
That's supposed to be me bullying. What do I do with king 9 off? I can't remember. Got a feeling I might bet it. Oh, well, that changes it rather.
I've got a feeling you might pass it now.
Yeah. And I've called one hand. I've completed in the small blind once and folded everything else.
So it's cost you $50.
If only I'd stuck to
50
that
points.
strategy, James.
Aha. You could have still been there now.
I hope not. It'd be a bit sad when everyone's gone. Talking to people in the chat box after they're gone.
Pair of jacks again. But this time he owns both of them in his hand.
So it's 5 times the big blind raise here, and what's the
Whoa.
logic? What is the logic?
Well, as it happens, if he can call this, it's gone in his favour. And he has called it because the price was right. He's got the guy covered in chips and still got more than his starting stack if it's wrong. There was a flush draw there for the 7. He didn't get it, and the jacks and 2s beat 7s and 2s, and we've lost the player. We've lost Ballard, and Bullets overbet there did go in his favour.
It's funny, isn't it? Do you think Ballard was reacting to the previous run-in between the two of them? Because it was a very different situation there. Ballard's error, if it was an error with the kings, was not to push his opponent out, but there he bet into a better hand.
I thought it was disappointing play, really. It's the blinds are still small. Even though he'd got 770, he'd still got quite a lot of play. I think it was just sort of
Why do you think he did it?
impetuous.
Impetuosity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just not... This is a case, what I've been trying to stress recently, Tom, is that when something untoward happens, I want us to forget about it, think about that later in the day if you have to, and just reassess your situation. Barry Bully raises
2.5 times big blind, James.
2.5 times the big blind with King Queen under the gun. Not a play I would
Look
like,
at
but
that.
he's got the
Four
ace
king
king.
folds,
He's
ace
got the
queen.
ace queen to pass.
Extraordinary behaviour.
Wow.
Now, I'm delighted about this. Now, I've seen what Nash has got here. Let me tell you what happens here. I don't want to get too involved with King Queen. I'm quite happy to let it go. There's 220 in the pot,
Yes.
and Nash checks here. And
What a hand he's got now. He's got top pair and an up and down straight draw.
Yeah.
Right.
And when he puts an 80 here, I think maybe he's just got a 10. But I don't know. He could have a hand.
Yes.
So I just call. Here. I don't know what's going to happen on the river, but it's cheap to call, and I may pick off a bluff on the river. As it happens, he makes his hand here. And he puts in the bet. But I'm looking either to catch a king or to pick off a bluff.
You
when I
put him
call
on the
turn.
10, so I presume you've got to pass it.
Well, a 10
Anyway.
is a prime suspect there. Yeah, so I do pass.
Anyway, you haven't actually connected, so...
I wasn't sure what was going to happen on the river, but I was just trusting in my ability to make the right play on the river. And that's where I went from. But I went into the whole scenario thinking I don't need to get involved with this if I don't want to, but if there may be some value turning up somewhere, I want to be around to collect it. What do you think?
Well, I can't... For a start, actually, it was quite amazing you've actually got the ace queen to pass.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Right, because that would have been one of the reasons, which I just don't like this hand much, because you end up in a dominated situation.
Because you've got specific feelings about King Queen.
I
haven't you?
have, yes. And under the gun there, I just think it's, for me, at the second level of this sit and go, I don't think I want to be getting busy under the gun with it.
Oh, the initial raise you don't like?
No.
Yeah, I don't mind it because my image is so fantastically tight. And in fact, we saw what happened because it was so tight.
Yeah, and that's why I've already commented on that. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm amazed that the ace queen decided to put it down.
Well, I think I'm in a great situation to find out exactly where I am with that hand if I get action when I've
I don't
raised.
know if you need to... Okay, it didn't cost you too much more.
Oh, the call of the 80 on the
But
turn.
that could be because you're just so far behind. He's just trying to sort of milk you along there. You know, it might be if you hit one. I don't know what you do if you hit your king or your queen.
On the river.
And the guy's got.
Sure, on the river, I don't necessarily want to hit the king or the queen and then face a bet. Then I'm in a difficult situation. I don't know what's going to happen on the river.
That's
but
my problem there with the hand is I don't know quite know what you want to hit because it could be just getting into trouble because you're not quite sure where you are.
yeah, but the reason why... Oh, look at this. I put in...
All right.
I put in the same bet there, 2.5 times big
Yes.
blind with the ace-jack, and I know that it looks like a positional nick, and Bullets, in fact, says positionally. And the reason why I put in 100 with there is that I think people would think that's either a big hand or it's a bluff. They wouldn't think it's ace-jack. It just seemed like a deceptive
Yes.
sum for ace-jack. So that's why I did it. I didn't know what was going to happen on the flop, but I just fancied it. But come back to the turn there with the...
But I think that was correct there. Anyway,
calling the 80 up. I'm getting pot odds there. There's 300 in the pot now, so I'm getting terrific pot odds. I
Yep.
don't know what's going to happen on the river, but I don't think I can afford not to be around to try and make the right play on the river.
Yes, I'm just saying my problem is in this stage of this tournament, to look ahead there, I just think that I'm going to be feeling vulnerable and is in fact someone can push me off with nothing or you can hit something which might just put you into more trouble. It's just a not knowing where I am situation, which I don't like.
I agree absolutely, but I don't mind spending the 80 and then finding out on the river if I and then on the river just deciding, hang on, I do know where I am. I've just realised I know where I am. You know, and that's there on the turn and it's on the river. But when the price is so cheap, and there are various good scenarios, one of which is I connect and it just goes to a showdown, one of which is he bluffs and I sense it. You know, those are fine, or he checks the river, and in fact I don't need to connect. It's just so cheap, I don't think I can afford not to be around to see if I make the right decision. And if I make the wrong decision, well, big deal.
Just butting in here, Tom, because this looks like interesting. We've
Yeah.
got a raise here from Nash, who's made it 160. Now you've decided to call it.
Yeah. I don't want to take this to a showdown with ace-king. There's a danger I'll get bluffed off on the flop. But again, I don't really mind at this stage laying down ace-king against a bluff.
No, and it turns out to be a good pass there. You didn't fall in love with your hand.
Nor do I really mind letting someone with a worse hand catch a flop. To be honest, I'm looking for a situation where we both catch top pair and I've got a better kicker. I'm playing the implied odds there and I'm trying to keep damage limitation if he's got a big pair that he's not going to put down.
Right, I'm going to ask you one question here, Tom.
Go on then.
Earlier on, you said that...
This evening?
Yes.
Are you saying I might not be consistent?
No, I'm just going to ask you something. Earlier on, you said that you believed that because of your reputation there, that you could probably get certain hands to pass with your under-the-gun raise.
Yeah.
So did it not cross your mind what you might be able to get people to do with a re-raise with your ace-king?
Well, it did. Well, it didn't, but I still think the player was right because.
No, I'm saying, would that not possibly be a good play?
Well, the trouble there is that if
your reputation.
if I've got a tight image and I raise, I cause them to do the right thing. They stick it all with kings, aces, maybe queens, and they fold ace, jack, ace, queen. So I don't want to play. I'm playing with my image there if I raise. I'm playing against my image by calling.
No, but I mean, to take that down, he's already raised to you. It would be quite nice if you knew you could take it down.
But what I'm saying is I don't know what he's got.
Oh, right,
and if I raise with the image I've got,
Okay.
I force him to make the right decision. And that's why I called.
But the plus point is you'll stop him getting fortunate.
Yeah, but the negative point is that if he decides to pursue with jacks, queens, or tens, I'm now in a race. And if he's got the dreaded kings or aces, then I'm in terrible trouble. And I also throw away the implied odds I get from when he throws away a hand that he would have connected top pair with, like ace, jack, or king, queen.
I mean, I'm just only asking that because I mean, it's my instinct. Early stages is that I'm not particularly looking to get all in with no hand actually. So that is my instinct as well.
Ace king being no hand.
Yes. And we lost another player there with ace king, and we can see what happened there. It was ace king ran into a situation which Tom related, possibly running into the kings or the aces, and he did so. Oh, Barry Bully here, ace 9. Blinds are 40-80, and he sniffs it. There's an opportunity to bet, and he sniffed it correctly.
2.5 times the big blinds.
James?
Yes, I know you quite like that now. Does it feel quite nice? I'm pleased to see you've been using
You
it.
see, I do it for different reasons from you. You do it because you think you get poor calls, but I think I do it because I might get a poor fold.
Oh, well, I'm saying that in money games when I was...
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
That's where I don't mind contests. I want contests in money games where I'm likely to be favourite, because I just want to churn these contests out. I'll win some, lose some, but hopefully I'm going to win more than I lose, and that's going to make me a winner. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Tournaments, I think, is different. Barry Bully, his earlier position, doesn't want to know the ace-8. So I can tell you actually a little secret here. Actually, Tom was having sniffing practice earlier tonight. That's how he's able to sniff out these opportunities.
What are you talking about, James?
I forget now. I thought it was relevant at the time.
Well, no, do share. And there's a walk. And I'm fortunate enough to get quite a few walks in this game, I must confess, although L-Pig was constantly on the small blind, but with just...
Do you think my request
closer-
helped?
No, I don't think so. To be honest, if only it was that easy.
El Pig, he takes the chips.
Yeah, here it goes a bit wobbly.
Uh-oh.
And I think, well, I'm going to have to move with Queen 10 here. It's just about good enough. And I think, well, I've bet recently, I've had a shot at L-Pig's blind before. He may think, oh, well, he must not be bluffing this time. He was bluffing last time. I get a call from Bullets, that's the trouble. And there's a check, 480 in the pot, and I think, well, maybe he called with nothing, in which case he's going to fold. So I put in the minimum bet raise, minimum bet here. I get the call.
You get a flush draw and a straight draw.
Yeah, and I feel duty bound to bet it. No, I don't. I check. I take that back.
And now you can pass.
Well, I didn't play it nearly as badly as I thought I played
No,
it,
I think
James.
you're right there. I think you're right to take the free draw there at the end. I don't think you're going to get... You're probably not going to get the person to pass. There's a good chance now that you think he's got the top pair, and now you just capture your free draw.
No, funny, I remember burning off a whole load of chips there, but it was really just a steal and the continuation bet.
Yeah, no, I think that was fine. I didn't want you to burn. I didn't. That was not the situation to try and
Hit the nitro switch.
No, I don't think so, because you still have plenty of play.
And there's a walk for making jam.
I think Barry Bully will like that one. Well, Barry Bully might actually. Dr. Barry Bully. Hell Pig sitting there with loads of chips.
Yeah, he played a good aggressive game throughout, and he's still at it.
Nash surrenders and he captures another 120. Well, not very good cards for Tom there. Is Nash going to attempt to steal a big blind? Or does he get a walk? He gets a walk.
Another one.
Well, I know it's not a long enough trial, but it could have been my request for you to get a few walks. We don't know yet, do we?
I think on a priori grounds it can't be. If it is, then you should release Stop Smoking tapes and
Exactly. That could be it.
How to Influence People tapes.
We've jumped. We've lost Dr. Tom. We've lost the whole world.
Well, that's a bit of a giveaway, isn't it?
You've given away the ending.
No, you might do better on the replay.
I think we're going to have to refresh that, as they say in modern parlance.
Yes, I
because,
think
there
we
was
will
quite
have
a
to.
lot of
That
interesting
was a
things.
shame. I was actually quite enjoying that. So hopefully we'll get that. We're able to revisit at the right spot. It'll give the guys in the gallery quite a bit of work to do, keep them busy. Meanwhile, let's have a revisit of the cash game.
What
Tom,
actually
you-
happened is
You
the
were
move.
cut off with your prime.
No, the move I made just after that was so excruciatingly embarrassing that I
They've just wiped it out.
hacked into the software and.
Oh, you hacked it?
Yeah.
Ah. Now they understand it. Tom hacked in because he didn't want to see it. That's what happened. All right, yeah, they got the idea now.
I think the derisive snort you got through your ear there, James, probably has something to do with their estimation of my computer skills. Yeah, like you could.
Well, actually, for this game, it's not that chipped up because normally this one has actually been People have been sitting there with getting up to 150s and more.
Well seasoned.
Yeah, but this one, no one's really making great progress. I suppose Kansas is doing okay. Kansas Coyote. Maybe that's how he's doing it, just by betting.
Good enough. In a late position there. Oh, he decides to call. Yeah, don't like it much, but fair enough. Maybe
I'd
he's
have
got
raised
plans.
Tom in that position. I would have raised.
9 queens, good enough for a call. 5 to 1, why not? There you go.
Second pair. If you're going to call, you might as well put in a little bet. And he does. Good. Find out. You lost one of them. Now you've only got one opponent. Okay, I've got good news for you. I think we're going to be able to revisit Beat the Presenter with Dr. Tom.
There it is.
And there it is. He tried to stop us seeing it. But
The truth will out.
the guys in the back room there said, we've got to see it.
Oh, Queen 10 again, James. I
Right.
can't remember what I'd do with this. I've got nasty feeling I might fold it. Oh dear. It's a Rosper bottle at this stage. I'm looking
Well,
to
no,
rig
actually,
in
no,
it.
you've got a problem here now because the blinds are 81.60.
That is it. I couldn't find the price. That
That's
was it.
240. And, wow. I actually would have been very aggressive with yours. there.
With the Queen 10?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
I
have
think
actually pushed.
I couldn't find the price.
No, I'd have pushed.
But I'll tell you why I didn't push, James.
Yeah.
And I remember now. I'm not making this up as I go along, I promise.
Because they've both got chips.
No, it's because Bullets has made a number of calls, of big bets, quite happily.
Right.
I think we're a little loose, to be honest, and that's why. And I couldn't
Okay.
find a price that I could get away from once I had bet.
Yeah, I don't think there is another price for it, really, with the Queen 10 myself in that situation. Oh, well done. You've captured that. That's helped. That was your Ace Jack.
What do you do? Difficult. I certainly sympathise with the fold. Difficult to know there whether he had fold equity or not, making jam if he'd come over the top.
King Queen passes on the button.
Yeah, he's folded some hands. There's Forking Ace, compatriot of mine from Southampton.
What FKA is it?
Mhm.
Oh. And Nash. Oh no, you got another walk.
It's been walktastic.
You had
I
an
must-
ace.
I must thank you, James, for your hypnotic suggestion.
You will give up smoking tonight. Well, it might work. So Bullets has got the middle pair, and he's got more chips than Nash. There's 720 in the middle, and he's bet, and I think that's good. I might have actually made it 400, actually, to be pernickety. Or even just a tad more, because I would want Nash to feel that he was probably going to be all of his chips in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd get sort of an implied advantage by just putting that price up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I actually increased my fold equity quite a bit by raising it, not too many chips.
Yeah, I understand.
So that's really good value. But by raising it just a few chips, maybe by 100 chips, I think the fold equity rises quite a lot. That's really good value to think. I think we should think about that at the time. Look at the size of your opponent's stack and see if your bet, how would it feel if you had that many chips? Put yourself in the seat of your opponent so you can work out what you'd have done, and that might help you to pick your own bet. Do you think that's a fair point?
Yeah, absolutely. That's taking sit and goes to the level you really need to take them to be a winning player, I think, beyond the sort of obvious mathematical side of things.
Well, quite like your hand there, Tom.
Yeah, I've been hanging around waiting for a hand, and it's arrived
Oh,
here.
look at this. You've got 2 limpers.
Yeah.
Did you order this? 2 limpers, please.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just click this. You found the bet that time pretty quickly.
Yep.
So did he. Oh, no. It's... Well, we don't want to see a 10.
No.
Whew. That would have been horrible, a 10. Well done. Wow, you're well back in business now.
But that's what I was saying earlier about bullets. I felt he was a caller of raises, so I wanted to wait until I had something to really want to call
Yeah,
from.
okay, that was a good read on. I like that thinking. Well, you've got the second place, Tom. Things are looking rosy.
We know it ends in tears, though, because we've got that preview.
Oh, yes. I've actually wiped that from my mind.
Queen 8 not quite good enough for me against Al Pig, who I think is looking to make a call at some point against me, and bullets
You're
who
not
we
keen.
can see likes
You're
to
not.
call.
Sorry, Tom. Yeah. I think you're not keen on these people on your left, are you?
No, it could be a lot better, actually, than having those two
Sorry,
there.
you got bullets in El Pig. You're going, oh, well, they always call. It's sort of knocked.
I like the guys on my right who keep giving me a walk.
Exactly. Now, if they were on your left, my goodness, you could have put in quite a few more raises.
Yep. Walk for making jam.
Well, you're going along fine at the moment. El Pig can't do anything with that one. Oh, pair of 4s. 1690. And Nash has got a problem. It's his tournament life. And there's a 4 on the flop. He's got massive problems now. But no, there's escape. A flush draw, a straight draw. Oh, through the heart. Oh, it made a
There's a house. A 6 of hearts on the river.
Thank goodness for that. It was a 6 of hearts which made a house. All action flop there. My goodness me.
Nasty.
And that's a problem when you're up. Barry Bully. I sense he's going to do something. I sense it. I feel it. I feel it.
And I'm trying to... I'm expecting to get a call from Bullets or El Pig, and you can see what happens. I make it a bit too cheap, and El Pig connects. But
Don't berate yourself there. You can't. I think that was... You put 900 in. That wasn't too cheap.
yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
You pass this.
I pass it. I give the... I'm not going to call, obviously. I don't want El Pig to think I'm a pushover,
Okay.
even though he knows I am. Hello, look at that. Somewhere in the middle, Barry the Bully.
All right. Nash is at the top of the charts of the pre-flop polls. Okie doke. Back in the game.
It's difficult, isn't it, when you get to a situation where you're starting to expect to get called.
I mean, you put in a bit. It was some call with King 8. I mean, you put in 900. It's a significant bet.
Going to give me a walk this time? Walk of love?
I'm just going to have a little...
Yes, I
Little-
do. I've been
little-
extraordinarily fortunate with the walks in this game, I must say.
I wonder how the no smoking's going on.
They've all taken it up.
I think we're going to have a little topic, Tom.
Okay.
So after this, One for us to get our heads round. Oh, and there we go. And I like this. The blinds are 163.20. Each round's going to cost you, and they've just gone up now as well. My goodness, you needed it now. Look at that. The blinds are 326.40. So finesse has gone out the window now. And El Pig, never frightened to put his chips in, has now just captured another 960. Well, Dr. Tom was probably hoping for something better than the computer hand. Whoa, El Pig! What a monster you are. 9-5 offsuit.
Well, he's seen that I'm a bit of a pussy in the big blinds. Making jam. I mean, this is where I snorted, if you recall, James. I said, now we find out what El Pig plays with, because he does, in the end, call there.
Yeah.
And I let it go, of course.
Oh, and he's hit his 5. Wowee, making jam. And there we have 2 pairs, 6s and 5s, beats 2 pairs, 6s and 4s with an ace. So El Pig made the move. He's made the move because he reckoned he could get Tom maybe to pass his big blind. Also, he thought, I don't know what he thought about there. The trouble is that Making Jam didn't have so many chips. I don't think he has so much fold equity against him.
But he gets a lot of dead money in the pot if I fold, which I'm going to.
But he's got the dead money, and he thinks, oh, I don't care being underdog against you, and you don't hurt me that much because you've only got 1,000 or so.
And there's a bit of equity for knocking someone out if there's 5 players left.
Yeah, there is, yeah. Okie doke.
So I'm in trouble now. I've got 640 the big blind, so I've got a few of them 4 big blinds.
What did you pass that time?
9-3, I think it was.
Yeah, okay. I'm with you there.
I'm in the big blind. And I'm in trouble.
Bullets has got kings. Trade's description actually come in there, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I fold. Because I know it's all going in anyway, and actually that's a particularly smelly bet from Bullets. And here's where I was thinking I might make a move, but unfortunately I lost the initiative because forking ace bet, nothing I can do there. There's a case for calling for Bullets' dead money, but
there's 640
I don't like
extra in the middle, isn't there?
Yeah, but we're on the bubble, you know, someone might go. Bullets might call, but unfortunately doesn't.
You passed your 6-4 there.
I know I'm going to get called, and I'm just hoping there'll be a showdown.
You hope to find a hand?
Yeah, well, Bullets can make a move, you know, if I let it go. Bullets maybe will end up against El Pig in the big blind. But now, unfortunately, it's now completely out of my hands, because now I must defend any hand, because I'll be attacked with any hand.
Oh, what a one to die with.
Well, they're suited. And there's no doubt in my mind I'm going to call here.
Well, you've got a straight draw.
Yeah, he's got the blockers though, hasn't he, James?
But what about the cowboy?
Nah, cowboys smell boys. Out on the bubble. That Barry is a right fish.
Okay, well, we've got to see the end of this. And correct bet there. All in there, he's got no choice. He's very low on chips. Blinds are massive. Takes down 960, wonderful. Bullets will leave that. El Pig, is it time to get aggressive again? No.
Yeah, he's lost some of his bullying rights now because they're all in the money. So they may be more inclined to answer back. And of course he did have his bluff shown with the 9-5.
And he quite likes them to have a fight anyway. He's going to get slide into the last 2 if it works out right. But that looks like a split pot. The kickers were negated. Well, Bullets are really thinking this one out.
Ooh, he's called.
I mean,
he's going to have to make a clever move on the flop with 2-4-80 in the middle there. 2-8-40 rather.
I just don't like the call.
He's not got room to move on, enough room.
You haven't got enough chips just to call. when he's had big. I mean, you could not afford that 640 he just gave up there. Okay, how much better it would have been to have saved it, to push it all in with now. Big difference. He's hit his ace, but there's a flush draw out there. Still okay at the moment. And it is okay now. But instead of having 3,480, he'd have had over 4,700. Big difference.
Forking in trouble now, and it's about who gets big blind first. Bullets and Forking Ace, both tiny stacks, but here, look what happens. Bullets gets the button, he can let it go. He chooses not to, and let Forking Ace defend. It's interesting there, isn't it? A King 10 definitely normally a raising hand, but there is a case for letting it go because you know it's going to be a confrontation between the two blinds.
Oh, it's gone that way around. I don't blame him.
Extraordinary that it ends up Bullets
Amazing.
who's in, and Forking Ace who's out. Who could have imagined that would have happened?
If we just hold this here, I mean, I just think that was I think that was terrible play by FKA.
Yeah, he hasn't got enough chips to afford.
I mean,
he's trying to get in the money, but
no, he's already in the money. The difference between third and second is nothing.
Exactly, yeah.
It's
I mean,
terrible.
trying to get one up the money, I should
It's
say.
20%, 30%. It's 50% for first. You can't do this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even be thinking about second place. It's irrelevant. You should just be making, plays. I thought Bullets was right to play as King 10 because you could win a monster pot maybe against two of them and really go and win the thing. And the pass by FKA, the difference in money is just not enough to warrant that play.
No, he was committed to that absolutely just because of the
He
pot
found a
odds.
great hand. He found an ace in the big blind. It was wonderful. You'd have to have big differences in money to be really making a tactical play there.
Yeah,
And this is not the time or the place.
that's a super satellite play.
Yeah. Or where the differential between prize money is significant enough to make a difference to you. But this isn't going to. And the very format of this prize money is 50, 30, 20. So the difference between third and second is insignificant.
Bullets survives, but still on a life support machine there, and unfortunately
He's found a disgusting hand.
he has to defend it.
Yeah, and well done, he's called it. Well done indeed, good play. He's got two pairs. Oh, he's made a house. And that wasn't good play because I saw he hit the 8. It was good play because mathematically he had to just call that.
He had
and that
to.
was excellent.
And sometimes he'll be ahead because we can see how big will move with anything, but he was certainly getting pot odds. So, everything changes. Alpig, I'm sure, will be happy to bet that. Chance of your opponent having a pocket pair is only about 17 to 1.
Yeah, he set them all in. That's good aggressive play. And he's crept further on there to 11,000. Bullets, Queen Deuce, looks pretty ugly.
And yet, he knows that Alpig is going to bet at him and bet at him, so he can really only get the chips by
He did have a Queen though, so it's
Yeah, either
heads up,
catching
it's
hand.
not too bad.
or doing the betting himself. And you can't guarantee you're going to get delta hand. And
No.
we see this time and again in poker, people who know their opponent's bluffing them and they say, just you wait till I get a hand,
Yes.
then you'll see. But with the blinds this big, you're out before that happens.
And then they end up saying, just you wait till I get a hand.
Well, Queen's ahead again. Not now. And that's
7, 8, 9, 10. It's a straight. And the money goes straight to El Pig.
well played.
Yeah, well, Bullets played well, actually. I like the way Bullets saw some opportunities.
Oh, look at that. I love these graphs, James. Fantastic.
And
Where's Barry? It's a bit confusing because it looks like Barry won it.
Barry, why is your...
Send me the money if I've won it.
Yeah.
Very strange.
That's very strange. That
How
definitely
big?
looks like
Apparently
your purple.
dyed. They've got that. It's all wrong, isn't it? Oh well, it's very pretty, which is the
Oh,
main
I've got
reason
to
why I
no,
like
you've got to recheck it. Well done, Tom. You won
it.
it.
Yeah, thanks.
It's clear. It's on there.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I don't even know how you did it.
Well, it's a little trick I learned involved
Fantastic.
hacking into the software.
Oh, it was that little bit when you... yes. I understand. Okay, we've got an email here, so let's have a look. And, oh, I thought it wasn't going to refresh. It did. It's from the Double Top.
Ah.
Hi, James and Tom. Please, can you explain how in a live MTT what happens when a table is broken down? Online play, it's instant. In live play, you could walk very slowly and not find your new table. Is this okay? With nearly 8,000 runners in the WSOP main event, you could have several hundred people just walking around finding their new seat. What are the rules concerning moving to a new table in a live MTT? Cheers, the Double Top. But I would prefer to be known as Double Top Cat. Come on, cats.
Lovely. Thank you, Double Top. Well, internet. Well, I'm tempted to say we're not going to tell you, just so that you'll have to go and play a multi-table tourney yourself. But you may live on the Outer Hebrides or the Moon, so that may not be possible. So, in an MTT, tables only get broken once at a time generally. So they'll give the players at the table that has been broken cards saying what table they go to and what seat number, which will have been worked out in advance. Basically, they'll be filling in the spaces in the other tables, and they'll be instructed firmly to go straight to their seats, to take their chips with them, not to go via the toilet or the bar or their hotel room for a shower, because they could potentially be disqualified if that happens. And it's true, in the place as big as a big tournament like the World Series, then they may miss a couple of hands before they get there. But as long as they do their best to get there as fast as they can, they're okay. Isn't that right, James?
Yes, I think in quite a few tournaments now, people will actually virtually guide the person to the table they've got to go to, because they'll give them their seat number, they'll say, okay, that's table E, seat 5, and they'll point exactly where the table is. The difference is, the main thing is, the other thing about moving tables is generally it'll be the big blind will move, i.e. the person who's due to be the big blind will move to another table. He will then go to if possible, the big blind on the other table, if not, the worst position, i.e. he's going to be his big blind next time, just depending on where there's room to go.
This is when it's not a whole table being broken, but just one person being moved.
Yes, when they're balancing tables.
Do you know, I've always taken exception to that rule, because it favours the weaker players, that rule, the big blind moves. Because it's not random, and the advantage of being moved, if you're about to be the big blind, is basically greatest if you're a small stack. So you're favouring the small stacks.
But if possible, you go to the big blind on the other table.
Yeah, sure, but that's only going to happen sometimes. More often than not, you experience an improvement by being moved when you're about to be the big blind if you're the short stack. Well, on average, the short stacks are going to be the weaker players. So by having that rule in there, all you're doing is increasing the amount of randomness.
Okay, well now, this is interesting now, because now there's a new rule being created.
Oh.
And this has been created by Aspers in Newcastle.
Oh, yes.
And, this is good, because you will not have heard about this, and not many people have heard about this. And put it on both together here, as we're going to discuss this, guys. So, what happens is that they move, when a seat becomes when a player leaves one table, they know they're going to rebalance the tables. Mm-hmm. They'll see where the person died, say the guy vacated seat 5.
Okay.
And then, from the table who has to balance, they'll take the person from seat 5 and put him in seat 5.
Fine, that's random. Got no problem with that.
So you like that?
Yeah.
Because that means no one's getting an advantage.
It's completely arbitrary. It doesn't matter how they do it, as long as it's random.
But that's a new method to me. When asked about it, they said what was my opinion. I said the only thing I had against it was basically, I generally am looking for a unification of all these rules, rather than creating more rules. And in EPT tournaments, for example, generally it's big blind moves to the worst position. So now, although I think their idea is logically very good, I'm not sure whether enough people are going to take it up. It just means that here we do this, here we do that. And that would be my one downside against it.
But as long as it's random wherever it doesn't matter what your algorithm is, but as long as it's random, I think that's fine.
Yeah,
I just don't
I think
like
the rule's good. I think the rule's good. So you would like that one then?
Yeah.
You're all
Any
for that one.
random basis for choosing the player is fine, but favouring the guy who's about to be the big blind, moving him on, is only going to really make a big difference to people who are short stacks. And why should you favour those? They got themselves into it, they should get themselves out of it.
There we go. He's tough, isn't he? He's tough, but fair. Okay.
Any more?
Yes, we have another email
Okay.
here. And this is from James in Wrexham.
Can I be tough about that one too?
You can if you wish,
Okay.
yes. Hi guys, great show as always. Please don't be tough on me. I have a question about poker trackers. Do you think that online poker trackers, such as Poker Whiz, should only be used when playing cash games, or do you feel that they should also be used in tournaments? The reason why I ask is because there are many players who are very tight and aggressive in cash games and play like maniacs in tournaments, thus giving me a wrong idea of the type of player I'm against. Thanks, James.
I can't really be tough on that, I don't think. But James, I mean, basically, sure. I mean, people do play differently in cash games and tournaments, and if you've seen someone in a cash game, then you should be fairly wary of attributing what they do in a cash game to their tournament. So if you've got the Poker Tracker stats on both of them, then by all means do so. So yeah, of course. Unfortunately, the Poker Tracker doesn't work. The actual Poker Tracker program itself doesn't work with lots of tournaments in lots of sites, or wasn't last time I looked at it. So I don't have too much tournament stats.
Right, can you give us anything about Poker Whiz?
Never heard of Poker Whiz.
Never heard about Poker Whiz. Okay, maybe we'll investigate Poker Whiz. Or maybe, James, you can contact us again and tell us what Poker Whiz can do, because we'll be interested to hear. We like to find out all these different bits about poker. Right. We want also plenty of other people to contact us. We do really like answering your questions. We're going to answer them in great depth. So please take advantage of this. Text us at 84222, putting in the word poker and your question. Or email us at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Okay, so I'll tell you what, it's an MTT after the break. And also after the break, Dr. Tom and I did say we often end up having a little discussion about something. Well, Dr. Tom, I can swear, doesn't know what it's going to be, but I will tell him now. And our little discussion after the break is about, we're going to be thinking about what we need to do if the people to our left seem to be calling stations. And we're now going to be thinking about how we should adapt our betting or our play to take this into account. So I hope you'll enjoy our little discussion. I just sprung that on Dr. Tom.
I'm looking to find out what the answer is, James.
Well, we're going to just be batting backwards and forwards as we normally do, and we're going to delve deep and see if we can find something.
Okay, I'm looking forward to
I'm looking forward to that,
delving
and
deep
hopefully you'll be looking forward to watching that.
with you.
Email us, text us, please, please, please. James, tell us what Poker Whiz is. Go and have a cup of tea. It's too late to eat, but you can have the tea and join us back here on Poker Night Live. Hi, I'm James Browning. I'm with Dr. Tom, and welcome back to Poker Night Live. Best place to learn poker. The best place to discuss poker. How can you discuss? You can discuss by emailing us or texting us, and we love to hear from you. Dr. Tom, and this is basically it's how to do it. Just in case you need reminding, I'm sure you don't. Text poker and your question to 84222, or email at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk.
We've had some good emails tonight, haven't we?
We've had some good emails. We want some more, don't we? Dr. Tom, I want to go on to this very briefly.
Oh,
this
yeah, I
little
forgot about
subject.
that, yeah.
I forgot about a little topic here.
What was it again?
The topic is about when you have players to your left who seem to be calling stations, and you find that it's restricting your play because you think, oh goodness, they just seem to call everything. I want us to just think this out together about what can we do about this.
Okay.
Okay? Perhaps if we can bring us both back together and we can chew it over.
Okay.
So this is the subject. In fact, basically, it was your sit and go which made me think about this topic, because to your left there, they both, as you said, were capable, very capable of calling.
Well, I think Bubbles was it Bubbles? No, Bell.
El Pig?
Bullies. No, Pig was more. I mean, Bet as well as called. He was.
Okay, well let's change them. Let's say they're both callers.
Okay, let's say.
So now, what can we do?
Well, I mean, the first thing to say basically is that of all the styles of play that you can play against, there are 4 basically. Your opponents can be loose aggressive, loose passive, tight aggressive, or tight passive. Probably the one that gives you the most long-term expectation is loose passive, people who don't raise but do call. So you shouldn't necessarily see it as a bad thing if they're going to call. For example, it does give you the privilege of drawing to a hand and then having them pay you off when you hit it, drawing cheaply. So that's a good thing.
Right, so what about, I'm just wondering here, against these people, what does our raise do? I think our raise here, in fact think against these people, we perhaps shouldn't be raising too big. We saw in that case where you made 900, I think the big blind was 320. To me, that is a chunky raise. But he called with consummate ease with a king 8. So I'm thinking against these people, I don't think that price is doing us any good. Because
no, you're right. I mean,
so maybe we can alter the price. Maybe against these sort of people we can do a flat raise. Or maybe we can sometimes even just limp in and just play against them when we've got position on them.
I mean, first of all, just to say about El Pig, I don't think, I mean, the play may have been more sophisticated than it looks. He may have been considering, I'd played very tight, so he may have considered betting whatever happened on the flop, knowing that there's only actually a 1 in 3 chance I was going to connect with it. So the play may have been sound. But it's true that in a sit and go, once the blinds start getting big, the advantage of having these loose passive players is not nearly so big as it is in a cash game when everyone's deep. And as I say, you can draw cheaply to a big hand and then get paid big when you hit it. But Mark was in a situation quite recently in one of the Vegas casinos, or perhaps it was St Kitts anyway, on some WPT event. And he said the players were so bad and so loose passive that literally the only hand that you wanted to raise pre-flop was aces. There was more value, even with kings, in seeing whether an ace came, because there'd be 5 or 6 people in the flop. If the ace comes, which it will, about 1 time in 6 on the flop, then you can let your kings go. So, you know, I think maybe there's a point here. Okay. You can literally just have a look at the flop.
Maybe you can just come in there and say, okay, because I just think if we find an opponent who just has no problem calling, maybe we just slide in there, because sometimes now, with your reputation, you just sliding in there is going to be, he's got a big hand. It's going to quieten them down anyway. Now you're controlling the size of the pot. You've got position. If it goes wrong, you can get away. It's cost you a smaller percentage of your stack. And that's just what struck me when I was just thinking about that situation you were in. So...
yeah, it's an interesting... I mean, another thing to take here from this is that there are various ways that you can play badly, but most of them involve basically doing the same thing too much. And likewise, players who raise too much, who fold too much, who call too much, then once they become predictable, then you can exploit the strategy they're using. Good sit-and-go players raise and call and fold the same amount as bad players who raise and call and fold in those amounts, but they just do it at the right times. They bet, they bluff when they're going to get fold, they bet when they're going to get called. But anything that's predictable is always bad, and that can be the case for calling.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. Okay, I enjoyed that little discussion. It's given us some food for thought there, I hope. And let us now go and have a visit to the... let's have a look rather at the MTT. How many players are left? 7 players left. Well, no one's got any money yet because only the top 5 have been paid tonight, Tom.
We had a short field, didn't we?
We did have a short field. You could only be a maximum of 5'2" to be allowed to enter this one.
That's probably why it's such a short field.
Yep.
Jaded has moved, and that's a much bigger call from Scotty than it is a raise from Jaded. Very big call from Scotty.
But they chop the pot up, they've got the same hand. So, we are in an interesting situation here because we've got the final table, but there is a bubble yet to be found. And we've got to lose 2 players. Tell me about the prize structure on this one, James, because that greatly determines my interest in the bubble. If the 5th prize is halfway between nothing and the 4th prize, then I don't think it's much of a bubble at all, really. And I'm quite prepared to get knocked out on the bubble, provided I go into the pot concerned with an edge. Well, while we're waiting on that information, seems to have disappeared. We have a confrontation here between the 2 bigger stacks, or 2 of the bigger stacks, Buffy and Lee.
Tom, I've got your information for you.
Oh, have you? Let's just see how this ace queen. Yeah, he keeps things simple for himself. Doesn't want to be outplayed on the flop. And Buffy, I think, can let that go. He's got a clear
I think
signal.
he definitely should let it go. That's too expensive. It really changes his situation too much. If he's wrong there, Buffy, be good, I think.
Yeah. Not terrible odds, but there was a real chance he was dominated. He wasn't, in fact, but there was a real chance he was dominated.
I just think what would help me in that situation would be that I'd rather, with those same chips, I'd rather be betting in a different situation than calling, when I might be horribly wrong.
Mm-hmm. Oh dear, look at this. Queen King suited running to kings. Yuck.
That is yuck, isn't it?
And I think he will have to call here. There's a very, very nice pot odds. He's getting, what is it, 5 to win 13.
So over 2.5 to 1 is money.
And he's got to hope that Scotty's got jacks, 10s, 9s.
Oh, and he's got a middle pin straight draw.
Nah.
No good. He's got 8,000 left.
Yeah, he's still got a bit of room to get himself out of it. Unfortunate, but there you go. So tell us about the price structure then, James.
Yes, 5th gets $66.40.
Mm-hmm.
4th gets $99.60.
Oh, well, that is a fair size bubble then, isn't it?
And then it goes to 132 for 3rd, 199 for 2nd, and then a stonking 332 for 1st.
Mm. So, the 6th to the 5th is a considerable jump there in that structure, and it's worth paying attention to.
So 1st is getting more than 2nd and 3rd put together.
Yes, he is, by $1. But we're still here 2 places from the bubble, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, is all the simulations show in poker that the importance of the bubble really only comes to the fore when you reach it, or perhaps just before it, but it grows massively.
At the moment we're in what is known as the carb.
The carb?
The carb, yes, that's right. It's a phrase which is probably not known too much in this country.
No.
But it's called the cut-off bubble.
I see. Is this a phrase that was coined down in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology?
That's exactly right, Dr. Tom.
Extraordinary. Those guys. Okay, we're at the cob. I call it the bubble bubble,
Oh, right.
but that gets me confused with...
We find it just quicker to say carb.
Okay. Well, speed isn't everything. But the point I was going to make is that at the bubble, yeah, the bubble's important. 1 before the bubble, well, starting to get important. 2 before the bubble, a lot can happen before 2 people get knocked out.
We don't have a name for that one.
No, but they're working on it.
Daz passes.
He did get himself out of it, didn't he? He was down to 8,000s.
Yes, this is the new improved Daz.
Mm-hmm. You're on fire tonight, James, I must say. You're absolute fire.
Everbright got the 8s.
Difficult. He's got 2 big stacks to his left. You see, that's not what you want in this situation. 8s or no 8s.
The only thing is he's got a lot of chips. He's in fact chip leader. So I think he's going to win it. I think that bet's too big, actually, from Everbright. Personally, I don't think he needs to bet that big. He is chip leader. They realise that. They're not particularly looking to clash with him.
It may be a play made less on his stack size. Of course, I mean, you should always take into account your stack size, but the overriding feeling there might be the eights, and the trouble with that sort of pocket pair is you really don't want to let your opponent see a flop.
Because you don't like...
Yeah, you don't like any flop, really.
You don't like any flop unless it's got an 8 on it. Yes, I agree with that. But also, you don't like an opponent re-raising you because you really should be putting it down. So I'd be more inclined to find a price which will still make them pass, but which will give... will save chips if I have to put it down.
I agree, and the price you find has got to be based on your estimation of the probability of them making a speculative call and then making a move on the flop, versus the possibility that they're going to raise you with something.
So my point is because he's got the strength of those chips, people are already nervous to say, I don't want to start getting sucked in there for a small amount because he might just bully me out of it. So they've already got to make a stronger decision to call you a raise when you have the big stack and you've got them covered.
And your logic is that if they've got a big hand, they're going to raise anyway.
Yes, so now you might as well save some money on it. So you can put less chips in when you're the chip leader because you're saying, I'm raising. Up to you. Do you want to play? And I think that because of that, you get more respect anyway. So therefore, you don't have to jeopardise chips. You don't need to.
So 3 times the big blind, 2.5 times the big blind?
Yeah, I'd knock it right down, yeah. 2.5 would be ample for the chip leader. And that's his luxury. He's chip leader. He's allowed to do this. They are raised. He could even do... Once the blind goes bigger, he can do a flat raise. I'm raising. That's it, boys. What are you doing?
Woof. Gets the calls. And
if there's more limpers in the pot, it varies. If there's people limping there, now obviously you want to show, and you want to have a hand which you want to raise with. Now, of course, you show more muscle because you've got to get rid of a bigger field of players, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Well, his chip lead was under threat from Lee, but Everbright has got a big boost up there.
Just a quick aside, I've been playing a bit of backgammon online, Tom.
Ah, I know you like a flutter on the old...
Well, I used to play it a lot, but I just a bit of fun I've played. And what they've played now is they've got interesting variation on the money game. They've got backgammon limit. So therefore you can play a stake, but you're limited to how many... Basically, you're limited to losing 4 points.
So it's played with a doubling cube?
It's played with a doubling cube, but the maximum you can lose is 4 points. So therefore, if you're doubled and you lose a gammon, that's it. But if you're redoubled to 4, you can't be gammoned, you can still only lose 4 points. So it's called backgammon limit.
OK, nothing wrong with it in principle?
No, I mean, it's probably quite good for the site, so no one's going to have any massive loss on one game, because the game might be all over in one game, obviously.
Sure.
But, so that's the same reason as limit poker was devised, wasn't it? That people would last longer in the game because the house wanted the game to continue. But I thought it was an interesting variation, though. You also had the option to play regular scoring as well, obviously with the no limit backgammon.
Well, we're down to 5 players, James, suddenly. How did that happen?
I was telling you about the backgammon limit.
And I was listening.
All of a sudden...
we missed the bubble.
Someone burst our bubble.
Oh, well. Well done.
We're
Anyway,
down to the prize
survivors.
winners. 7, 8, 9's a flop. And Buffy Be Good has got bottom pair. Everbright has got second pair. And Buffy Be Good's raised. Wow. Everbright's called it. And now checks. Now raises. Well, the betting pattern here, Tom, is really quite unusual. So Everbright really believes his King 8 is winning. And he got it. Well, that was amazing that he's so in tune that he was confident enough to win that one. We could see he did have the better hand, but with that flop, it didn't look like a certainty.
Daz will be pleased with that result. He didn't want to face the raise. The value of the bet, in part, was that he could pick up the pot cheaply. Also, a call there is probably not going to be a huge hand. So if he is called, he can suspect he's ahead with the ace-10. So he's generally forcing his opponent to give him information. If his opponent's got a big hand and there's 3,000 or 4,000 in the pot and Daz has only got another 10,000, well, most opponents are going to raise him with a genuine hand there, make him pay to draw. Buffy quite happy to look for the double through there, but he doesn't get it. But he's still in the game. A lot to be said for that in a tournament. Nothing to be said for getting knocked out of it, really. And a flat call now from Lee, who's missed. And it's going to take some balls to bet that, because a draw could easily be held by one of those earlier players. £5 in the pot, and the logic here Everbright should be following is that why would Scotty slow play with so many draws on the board? Well, that's a confusing raise, and a big bet here would bluff it, but that might just take it. A rake makes a call there, and that's an interesting call there, because you'll face those bets on the river quite often, both in tournaments and cash games, and of course a lot of the time they're sucker bets. But every now and then they're just attempts to bluff it cheaply, and you've really got to call them, because in the long run, those just catching someone trying to bluff you cheaply will pay for the sucker bets. Exercise a bit of discretion. You know, if you know the guy just can't be bluffing here because you know him that well, then fold. But I must say, James, I think I've made a lot more money calling those little bets on the river than I've been folding.
Yeah. I think your proviso is good, though. I think it's a matter of know your player as well. Because with certain players, it'll just cost you a fortune, because you'll be on the wrong end every time against certain players.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's one of the ways I end up catching them is when I've got a hand, which I think I've talked with you before about, where I think I'm in a head-on collision situation, and I suddenly slow down to check and call. And at the end of the day there, if I've run up against trips and I've got top pair, they'll charge me less for it. Or if they've missed altogether, then I might put in the bluff. And
yeah.
Of course I'm calling anyway, and I'll either lose less money when they charge me less, or I'll snaffle up the bluff.
That's right, important to look ahead and see where the value is going to be.
Tom, we've had a little bit of reaction to our little discussion.
Oh yeah?
This is from Making Jam. Hello again all. Was having trouble recently with passive players to my left when playing some low-level sit-and-goes while helping the wife to improve her game. I found that they didn't respect the level of the raise we put in. It was as if they had decided to play their cards before their turn to act, and the price wasn't going to be an issue. So the choice seemed to be either give them a cheap flop, and if you hit, push very hard before the turn, or go all in. Given the risk involved with any all-in move, we decided the limp approach was the best. And yes, it did work more often than not. The main aim is to weaken the player by making them pay maybe 2 or 3 big blinds around. Death by 1,000 cuts, rather than going for the heart. My way. Dying to hear your views. Laugh out loud.
Yeah, sounds perfectly reasonable. I mean, provided they fold sometimes, those players, then to be honest, if you do find a player who, as you say, makes their decision about whether they're going to call based on the cards, ignoring your raise, your strategy should be clear. You should bet big when you've got a good hand, and you should bluff small when you've got a poor hand, because it's not going to cost you much when they have got a big hand, but they will still be folding against you when you bluff. So provided they're not clever enough to realise what you're doing, just do that. But I mean, if they're passive callers, then I think you're right. You want to if they're passive players, the more cards that come out, the more certain you are where you are, the more information you have. And so you really don't want to have pre-flop confrontations.
Yes, I think sort of there's an analogy here is if you're playing, say, like, for example, Omaha, and you're playing against inexperienced players who just tend to call any hand pre-flop with Omaha, well then you want to just keep the price down. You don't want the money going in pre-flop. You want to wait until you've got your beautiful nut hand on the flop with the possibilities to get a higher straight or maybe turn into a flush. And then you want to be saying, well, put whatever you want in now, I don't care. So you wait till you've got more control, because basically when people are calling, a lot of the times we make bets in late position is because we think we've got some fold equity. And that is an important part of the play.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to get at before was, when we can see that that fold equity has diminished greatly, it can't be the right play anymore, because the hand itself becomes more important than the move. So therefore, we basically are more likely to have to win on merit. So therefore, it's better that we reduce the size of the bets. Or even, as I said, just call.
Absolutely.
So, interesting subject. Hey, listen, there's still time for any more comments on this regarding betting against people who do sort of set patterns with their calling or raising or whatever. So, thinking about playing against different styles of players to your left, or even we talk about different styles of players to your right. Any comments on this, please contact us. And you can do this by texting us at 84222, putting in poker and your question or your comments, or email us. And don't forget to put your name, by the way. We do love to have your name. And don't forget you can email us at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. There's still time. Please send in a few more, because Tom and I are finding these very interesting. And we would like to tackle a few more before the end of the show. Anyway, back now to the MTT.
Ooh, little raise there with nothing, and that should take it down. Buffy attacking the other short stack player. And that's unfortunate for Daz there, because he's going to have his big blinds nicked by Buffy, but he's going to find it much less easy to nick Everbright's big blind.
Yes, you're right. Looking around at the size of the stacks.
Not much there, and that could be a walk. Don't think Scotty's going to want to get too fruity with King 7 off against the chip leader, no. How much from Daz? Now he's got his chance to nick Buffy's big blind. Well, ace 10, it's not a bad hand. 3,000, 2,000. I wonder what he'd do if Buffy came over the top.
And there we go. Well, he's got another hand now.
Yep. Blinds have gone up.
6-12.
And that looks strong because he's just bet. People will probably give him respect.
And I think he's done that because he thought, I've just done one the time before. I don't want them getting tired of it and just calling with anything here. I'm scared. I want these blinds.
Yeah, that's the reason why I ramped up the bet size, you mean? Yeah.
He thought they're going to get tired of this. They think I'm at it. You're at it, mate.
Everbright may feel it's his turn to make a move now, and Buffy be good. Well, I think you have to move all in here. Nines is a big hand. It's unlikely to be behind. And he's got fold equity there.
He's in good shape as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Only the one over card, obviously.
And the great thing about that move is that because you're ahead, almost certainly ahead, if your opponent calls, that's not terrible. If your opponent folds, that's not terrible. But you don't want to give him a chance to play on the flop. And if he's got tens, jacks, queens, kings, aces, then good luck to him.
Is that what you normally say when they sort of turn over the aces? Oh, good luck.
Good luck to you, I say, because you certainly don't need it.
Very sporting of you, Tom.
Well, it's been quite a protracted affair, this multi-table. We had 7 when we joined it. We're still only on 5. I don't think we're going to see the end of this somehow.
Well, maybe if we turn away, we'll lose 2 more.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, there's some action here, Tom.
Yeah, look at this.
7-4-3, and Everbright's hit the 3. All of a sudden, a hand which is dominated pre-flop, i.e. his ace-3 against the ace-9, suddenly becomes a big favourite, because the ace is counterfeited, because he's already got a pair. There he goes, he stretches his lead. King Jack. Reminiscent of the start of the show when King Jack was a prevalent hand.
Ah, that was offsuit.
True. He was popping it all over the place. Oops, 3-4-6, all clubs, and Buffy Be Good has got a straight draw and a flush draw and a pair. What a monster hand.
What that? Didn't expect to see 3 undercards, do you?
No. You don't expect to see a flush draw and a straight draw all in one.
You don't expect to see a penguin typing.
Where's that?
No, I'm just saying you don't expect to
You
see
don't
a penguin
expect
typing.
Penguin.
Is that an impression? It's been the first of the evening.
So yeah, it was a reminiscent of sort of Derek Nimmo, I think.
Oh, it was quite good.
Yeah.
We should get him on the show. Well, Scotty now is down there as one of the low boys. Buffy Be Good, perhaps temporarily up, and he's going to bet this for sure. And this is nice for Buffy because he's now got 2 low stacks in positions where he can attack their blinds. So he's in good shape here, strategically.
Yep, that's well spotted there. He's going to like the cutoff. It's going to be his place to move. And Daz could be in trouble here, I think. Yes, I sensed it. There was the raise, and look at this, he's found not 1 but 2 hands. Well, there could be... Oh no. Wow.
It's foldable.
Yes?
I would have been tempted to call.
With the 9s?
Yeah, because I don't think Scotty needs very much to raise Daz, but it's foldable, yeah. I mean, certainly I would need to have a lot of chips to call there. But, yeah, a good fold.
Well played, Everbright.
On a good day with the 9s, though, you find your opponents share a high and overcard between them. And so, although there's a reasonable chance your 9s are going to be cracked, you're getting pot odds.
Everbright just calls. And that leaves a problem for Lee, who's now hit second pair. Everbright's got a straight draw and a backdoor flush draw. Oops, the backdoor flush draw gets a bit... is connected.
Coming around the front door, isn't it?
And he's now bet again here. And he takes it.
Yeah, Lee was just sensed he was getting pushed onto the back foot there, and you could see it happening there.
You've hit that flush, he said. I can't believe it. How could you get so lucky?
And Lee didn't know where he was. And I really feel there that the call on the flop when he'd made middle pair was symptomatic that he was giving initiative to Everbright, and he knew it, and he'd decided to let it go on the turn.
Well, and I think there's something. When you're in that situation, I think you ask yourself a question here, what happens next? And basically, if when you're calling you believe you're winning, maybe there's the time to, rather than waste money later on, is to pop in a raise.
I know, James. I mean, you're absolutely right there, but a few things to bear in mind there is that there was an ace on the board, which was a bit of a worry. And furthermore, sometimes when you just call someone on the flop for a small bet, they do just shut up and they check it down to the river. This wasn't a great situation to expect that to happen, because, of course, Everbright is the big stack. But, I mean,
much is made of the idea that you just postpone it, that you shouldn't postpone a decision, you should make it right now. But sometimes you do see your opponents check it down to the flop. I don't think that was the case to do it, but that's why I sometimes do make calls on the flop and I'm prepared to fold the turn.
But sometimes you might get the guy with ace small to put it down.
You might do, and sometimes you'll run into a guy with ace small who doesn't put it down or who's got a proper ace.
Yeah.
Many imponderables. But I don't think necessarily calling on the bet and folding on the turn, although it looks lame, that ignores the situations where you call on the flop when the guy checks it to the river.
No, sometimes that puts the fear of God into your opponent, and it does clam him up the next time. Yep. Just a call sometimes looks strong.
But probably not the big stack, wasn't the guy to play it against like that. But at least Lee got away. If he was going to play it on the turn, he should have raised or folded, and he folded rather than just called.
But there's the other option, of course. If you do put a raise in when the guy bets, and he does call your raise, you could check the next time, and then the guy mightn't know what to do then, because he might think you're waiting just to re-raise him again.
That's true. That's true. Though of course, it's costing you more to do that.
Buffy be good. Well, ooh. Short-handed there, I might well have been tempted.
Wow, 24 in the pot. Yeah, Daz is scared. His lead checked, just completed on the small blind.
Up and down straight for Daz.
Oh, take the free card. Yes, he does.
He's not going to try and steal it.
No, he knows a bet on the end would be pretty incomprehensible there. Doesn't look like he's got anything if he bets on the end.
And I think we're going to see him push his chips in with this one.
Yep, absolutely. Assuming it's folded around to him, which it should be, that's a clear all-in move.
Click the button. And he has. Well played. Scotty, click the pass button. Daz has got the button. A few more chips.
But he's in a lot of trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble. And the blinds are 600, 1200, each round costing 1800. So he's just got over 5 rounds of play as Daz. So his bets are quite simple. At the moment, it's all in.
Not very nice. Middle pair for Buffy.
And 2 pair for Everbright. But no one's got a club, and Buffy be good. It's just been bad.
And with so few chips left there, I think Everbright is right to raise. That's what he does.
He's done a flat raise. 6 with 6, and Buffy be good says, okay. I wonder what he thought that he was raising him with. Oh dear. He even improved just to rub salt in the wound, because Everbright was sat on the flop with the 2 pair. The cruel twist of fate just to tease him on the river as well.
Yeah, I mean, Buffy be good must have known he
What did he think he was re-raising him with?
Well, first of all, he had no fold equity, so he's got to be raising a worse hand. So when Buffy be good puts in that raise there, even if Everbright is bluffing, he's going to call because there's so many chips in the pot. But as you say, James, given that Buffy be good should know that Everbright is going to call Buffy be good if Buffy be good raises, well, it's a very good chance he's got a hand there.
I think so.
You know?
I mean, there's quite, there's other jacks which he's got there which beat him as well.
As well, yeah. He's got middle pair with a weak kicker. And he has bet before the flop, and Everbright's called. Yeah. I don't like it.
No, it's just like bits. I thought it was a bit sloppy.
The initial lead out of 6,000 I didn't mind, because I thought, OK, now if he gets raised, he can lay it down. But then he was raised, and he didn't.
One of my little maxims there would stop that one happening. It was whenever you do a play which is like get rich quick, think again, because it's normally wrong. And that was I might be right, get rich quick.
Hoping, I guess, that Everbright had the flush draw, but a flush draw is it's much more likely he's got a pair than a flush draw.
Yeah, I'll
catch a pair one time in 3, catch a flush draw about one time in 10.
Definitely was getting rich quick. Scotty, unlucky. Nothing wrong with your bet really, but only a big hand would have called you, but you found a big hand. But luckily, an ace came on the flop for Everbright. It looked like it was all over, but on the turn came the 9, and on the river, 2 pairs for Scotty. He was almost dead. Now, he's looking strong as an ox. 6-6 deuce. Split. Both with ace 10.
But Daz now in the big blind. And Lee, well, what do you do here? Yeah, he folds, and I've got a lot of sympathy with that folds. Didn't really look like Scotty has a big pocket pair, but he might have had 9s, he might have had 10s, he might just have had ace queen or ace jack. You don't really want to call with 8s against ace queen or ace jack unless you think your opponent's a much better player than you. Looking good for a double through for Daz. There it is.
Back in business.
Out of the brown stuff temporarily, perhaps. Six-two probably not good enough for Everbright to get involved there. Pair of 8s, though, and Lee, yeah, having a look, and there is the danger, of course, you're looking to see if you hit, but sometimes the ace comes with your card. And it's just a bit annoying, and this is what got... Wow, the ace makes it less likely Everbright's got one. Lee's got the flush draw, 20,000 in the pot. He's made 2 pair, he doesn't know where he is. I think he's got to check and then think about calling, hasn't he?
Of course, the 2 pair, he already had the 2 pair with aces and queens, but he's just gone up a notch with aces and kings. But I think that ace in the turn is what helped him. He just thought it's less likely that ace is around.
Yeah, I mean...
That was the key card for him, wasn't it? It helped him.
Definitely right to check the river, because he might induce the bluff. And he doesn't. He's not terribly sad to see his opponent check, I think, on the river.
No.
So, who's going to be next out? Daz drifting down again. Did you have a message from one of our punters referring to the final table of the multi-table tournament?
Oh, that was a good point.
Have a look at it and see if we can spill the beans.
Let me search. It was Balrog, wasn't it?
No, Lee going to make a move here. Daz and Scotty both reasonably tight. Nope, Scotty gets a walk.
Okay, I found it. Well done, Tom. On another matter, not sure I'm qualified to do so, but a tip, if I may, for others.
Oh, isn't that our job?
Well, shall we let them do it?
Go on then.
Okay. MTT tonight, found myself on table with top 3 stacks, with still 20 odd people left in. What if they were all odd? I wonder why. I became focused purely on my table and ultimately went out when my ace-queen was re-raised and I called. Once out, I looked at the bigger picture and realised, were I on any other table, I would have been comfortably stacked and would almost certainly not have called the re-raise. In fact, possibly would have thrown the ace-queen from the early position I was in. I had got into low stack mentality, multi-table mentality, which proved my downfall when I had time to wait for much longer, given the other 2 tables' average stacks. As I say, a tip for others, maybe, certainly one I should listen to myself. is that you're not just playing the table you're sitting at in later stages of an MTT. Fair point?
Absolutely. Completely, yeah.
Very good, Steve. I like that.
The size of your stack is not really relevant to other people's. It's not the issue. It's the size of your stack relative to the blinds that counts. That's what shapes your decisions. Sure, of course, in the particular dynamics of a confrontation with another player, then stack sizes come into it to some extent, particularly around the bubble, where one person getting knocked out has a big difference on everyone else. But in the main part of a multi-table tourney, when you've still got a long way to go to get to the bubble, what matters is the size of your stack relative to the blinds, because that's what's determining your play.
Yep, so remember Dr. Tom, his advice there? It's not the size of your stack, it's how you use it.
Yes, that's right, James. That is absolutely it. Right, still sticking around on pretty much the same stack he's been on for quite a while. Lee, that means, is knocking on his door.
Nothing. A 10, of course, would be encouraging for him, but he doesn't get it. He's just going to win it on merit.
Queen high. Well, we hope people win things on merit, one way or another.
Well, a pair of fours have been played very aggressively tonight. And the pattern continues.
Scotty going to go all in here. I don't mind an all in myself. Yeah, that's what he does.
Well spotted. And you can put this down.
And he could. He must think he has a reasonable chance he's up against ace king, but he's not far ahead, and he might be up against a bigger pair.
Yeah, against ace king suited, he's a very small favourite,
Yeah.
about 52% or something. And against pairs, of course, he's in the depths of about 20%.
So we have a new chip leader. Mr.
Yes,
Lee.
Lee.
Good year 1968 for poker players. Two of them made the final table here.
Yes. Ever bright. It's got a flush draw and a straight draw. And it's a nice bet. A classical semi-bluff. Very sweet. Good play. And the real hand for Daz. Blinds at 800, 1600. So each round's 2400.
I'm sticking it all in with the eights there.
I am.
I am, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not mucking around there, because if they just call that, now what do I do? It's horrible. I might.
Yeah. It's not a great laugh sticking a bet, which is 8 times the big blind. But when there's only 4 players at the table, it's
And you've got not many rounds to play.
Yeah.
Each round's costing you 2,400, Tom. So, yeah, Tom and I are in unison there.
Oh.
That was Dr. Tom. Very melodic.
Did you say? I thought you said moronic.
It rhymes. Definitely not.
Lee doesn't have to draw to gut shot, but he does. I guess he was drawing to an ace as well, and it might be checked on the river, so he can possibly count 7 outs. Now, 3 players with pocket pairs. How often do you hear me say, it's not very likely someone else has got a pocket pair when there's
Yes.
short-handed and you've got one? Sometimes they have.
How often do they have? 2 other people have them. Well, we saw this before, didn't we? Because it was the 10s against the 9s before, and Everbright passed the 9s.
Yeah, and it's not very different here. It's a big dent in the stack.
And he's done it again. I'll tell you what, hats off to Everbright. He has actually put down some good big cards, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he's seen the play right. He's seen what's going on. Scotty is not a maniac.
Well done, Everbright. I think good effort there.
And Scotty's surely going to move with this, but how much? 2.5, 3? 3 it is. 3 times the big blind is good enough.
And Scotty's got ace-4. Everbright's got ace-7. I think he's going to push. Yes, he does. 3,200. Scoops up 2,400. Wow, got a nice...
It's really evened out, hasn't it? Now the stack sizes are not so different at all.
I'll tell you what, it has evened out, but I'll tell you what, the battle has been so good, and unfortunately so prolonged. Tom, I'm going to disappoint you. Yeah, I know you feel it, I know.
Do you want to spill the beans then and say who does win it?
Okay, I'll tell you what, we aren't going to be able to see the finish. We'll have to leave that now. Guys, it was a very good performance, but we're not going to leave you hanging in the air. We're going to tell you what happened. Daz, actually, who is top left there, he finished in 4th place. In 3rd place was Scotty, who we just saw had the pair of 10s. He finished in 3rd place. The guy who made some great laydowns, Everbright, finished in 2nd place. And the winner, who had just captured the chip leader, captured the 1st place in the chip leaderboard, was Lee, and he went on to win it. So, actually, a good standard of play there. I enjoyed it, Tom.
Yep.
I thought some good stuff going on there. I've got an email here, and this is from L Pig. I have to be quick.
Okay.
Hi, chaps. Tom, in our sit and go, you already raised my big blind 3 or 4 times when you were first to bet. I folded every time. Although I didn't think you were raising with trash because of my big stack, I had to make a stand at some point. The re-raise all-in was a no-no. You'd probably have to call. I intended to call the raise and then push all-in if the flop missed and check if it hit. I had a change of heart, though. I didn't want to risk you taking a free card, so moved all-in with my top pair. I had enough chips to make this move and still have a workable stack. Would you say letting your big blind go a few times and making a big move is less risky than making a stand more often but less aggressively?
I don't know, it's 6 and 2 threes to be honest, L-Pig, and both are perfectly reasonable. I mean, there's a lot to be said for making small moves if you can use the information you get coming back from you. The danger of waiting for a big move and making a stand and proving a point is, of course, that someone, even Dr. Tom, may well have a hand at that point. So 6 and 2 threes. But interesting there that L-Pig said pretty much what I suspected, was that he called my bet there thinking he was going to move regardless of what happened.
Yeah, great. Dr. Tom, I'd like to thank you very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed tonight with you.
Mr. Brown, it's been an absolute pleasure and an education as always.
Good, and you've educated me well tonight as well. Tomorrow night we're going to be joined by Lindsay and James.
That's you.
That's me.
Do you always
I
refer
thought
to
you were
yourself
Lindsay
in
tonight. Thanks very much for watching Poker Night Live. Thanks for all your emails and texts. It's been really enjoyable. See you tomorrow.